The elevator doors were already open when I arrived. That was the first thing that felt wrong. I stood in the empty lobby of the Orion Tower, holding my small bag, watching the elevator like it had been waiting for me. No one pressed the button, no sound, just soft white light spilling out like it was breathing. My shift didn't even start yet. It was 11:58 p.m. The security desk was supposed to be on the right, but the guard there wasn't looking at me. He was staring at the screen like it was doing something he didn't understand. His face looked tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. "You're late," he said without turning. "I'm 2 minutes early," I replied. That made him finally look at me. His eyes moved slowly, like he was checking if I was real. "Yeah," he said after a pause, "close enough." He slid a folder toward me. No handshake, no welcome, just paper. Inside was my schedule, building rules, and a key card. The key card already had my name printed on it. That should have been normal, but my name looked slightly faded, like it had been printed over something else. I didn't ask. I needed the job. Rent doesn't care about strange feelings. The guard stood up slowly and walked me toward the elevator. Each step echoed too loud in the lobby, like the building was empty even though I knew there were offices full of computers above us. "You'll be alone after midnight," he said. I thought security always works in pairs. He gave a short laugh, no humor in it. "Not here." That was the first real open loop in my head. "Why not here?" The elevator dinged softly, even though no one pressed anything. He didn't look surprised. That was worse. Before I stepped in, he stopped me. "One thing," he said. His voice dropped. "After 12, don't trust the building system." I frowned. System. He tapped the folder in my hand. Lights, elevators, logs, doors. If it says something happened, don't assume it didn't. That made no sense. He saw my confusion and sighed like he had explained this too many times. "You'll understand, or you won't. Both are bad." Then he stepped back. The elevator door stayed open, waiting, like it had already chosen me. I stepped inside. The doors closed slowly. Too slowly, as if the building didn't want to let go. The ride up should have been simple. Lobby to security floor, maybe 10 seconds. But the numbers didn't feel right. 1, 2, 3. Then 7. Then 11. Then 6 again. I stared at the panel. No one had touched it. The elevator kept moving like it was guessing. I pressed the security floor button again. Nothing changed. The display flickered once. Then it showed something else. Access confirmed night shift. I froze. That wasn't me pressing anything. The elevator stopped. Doors opened. I was not on the security floor. It was a hallway, completely empty. Lights buzzing faintly overhead, and the smell like old carpet soaked in air conditioning. I didn't move. The elevator stayed open behind me, waiting again, like it was offering me a choice it already knew I wouldn't understand. Then the panel beeped softly, and the display changed again. "Welcome back, ARIF." My name. Clear. Wrong. Because I had never been here before. The doors closed before I could step out. The elevator went up again. I pressed the emergency stop. Nothing. I pressed every button. Nothing responded. Only that same slow movement upward. Like the building had decided something. When I finally reached the correct floor, the security office, the first guard was gone. No goodbye. No instructions. Just an empty chair with a monitor still glowing. The screen showed live camera feeds of the building. All normal. Too normal. Every floor looked quiet, empty desks, still chairs, dark hallways. But one camera feed caught my attention. The lobby. The elevator I came in was still there. Doors open. Empty. Like I had never entered it. I stepped closer to the monitor. My reflection appeared faintly in the glass. Then something behind me moved. I turned fast. Nothing. Just the hum of computers. I told myself it was stress. New job. New building. But then I noticed the folder on the desk. The one I was holding earlier. Except I wasn't holding it anymore. It was already on the desk. Opened. And inside was a log sheet. My name was written at the top. Arif night shift start, 11:45 p.m. I stopped breathing for a second. Because I had arrived at 11:58. Not 11:45. Someone had logged me in before I got here. Or I had been here longer than I remember. That thought didn't sit right in my mind. I closed the folder slowly. The monitor flickered. A soft beep came from the computer system. A notification popped up. Routine check complete. Floor 13 status active. I frowned. Floor 13. There was no floor 13 in this building. I knew that from the brochure. I checked it myself earlier today. The building went from 12 to 14. No gap. No exception. I leaned closer. The system refreshed again. Now it said, Floor 13, occupied. My throat felt dry. I checked the floor directory on the wall. Same thing. No 13. Just a clean gap between 12 and 14. But the screen in front of me insisted otherwise. That was the first time I felt it clearly. This building was not just old. It was inconsistent. Like something inside it was changing information after I saw it. I tried calling the first guard. No signal. I tried the office landline. Dead. Only the cameras worked. And the cameras were starting to change. At first, I thought it was compression. Small glitches. But then I saw it clearly. On the 5th floor feed, a chair shifted slightly. No one was there. Then it shifted again. A little closer to the desk. I leaned forward. My heartbeat got louder. The system beeped again. Another message popped up. Manual override DETCTED. User ARIF. I didn't touch anything. I stepped back from the desk. The lights in the office flickered once. Then stabilized. Too fast. Like the building corrected itself. I looked toward the hallway outside the office. It was quiet, but not empty. There was something about the silence now. Like it was listening. Then the intercom crackled. Just once. A soft burst of static. Then a voice. Calm. Too calm. Security personnel Arif, please confirm position. I froze. The voice didn't sound like a recording. It sounded like it was speaking directly inside the room. I didn't answer. Another pause. Then, security personnel Arif, you are currently assigned to floor 13. My hand slowly moved toward the desk phone. I stopped halfway because I realized something. The system didn't ask where I was. It told me where I was, even though I had never been there. The intercom clicked off. Silence returned, but it didn't feel like peace. It felt like waiting. I looked at the elevator camera again. Lobby feed. The elevator doors were still open, but now something was different. A shadow stood inside it. Still, not moving, just facing forward. like it was waiting for someone to return. Then the screen flickered, and the shadow was gone. Instead, the elevator display changed. It showed destination, security floor confirmed. My floor, but I was already here. So who was coming up? The system beeped again. A final notification appeared. Shift record updated. I clicked it without thinking. New line added. ARIF current location, elevator in transit. My stomach dropped. I turned slowly toward the hallway outside the office. And I heard it. A soft ding from the elevator arriving on my floor. But I was already on this floor. I was already inside. So why was it here again? The doors down, the hall began to open. Slowly, too slowly, and the intercom whispered one last time, softer than before. Welcome back. And this time, it didn't sound like the building was speaking to me. It sounded like it already knew I would come back, no matter where I went. The elevator didn't move for 7 seconds. Then it stopped between floors. No warning, no shake, just silence like the building forgot how to continue. My hand was still hovering near the panel when the lights inside the elevator dimmed slightly. Not off, just low enough to feel wrong, like someone had lowered the world's brightness without telling me. And then the number changed. 12 stayed, but below it something new appeared. I stared at it. My mind refused to accept it at first. Because I had already checked, I knew this building. There was no 13th floor. Everyone said that. The brochure said that. Even the emergency map in the security office skipped it completely. But there it was. Bright, steady, like it had always been part of the system. The elevator dinged softly. Doors opened. I didn't step out immediately, because I could hear something before I saw anything. Typing. Soft, fast, continuous. Like dozens of keyboards being used at the same time. But there shouldn't be anyone here. I leaned forward slowly and looked out. A hallway stretched in front of me. Clean. Too clean. Not like an abandoned floor. More like a floor that had been waiting. The lights were on, but dim. A pale white glow that made everything look slightly washed out. The air felt colder than the elevator, like I had stepped into a different temperature zone. And the typing didn't stop. It was coming from everywhere. Not one direction. Every direction. I finally stepped out. The elevator doors closed behind me immediately. No delay. Like it didn't want me to go back. That's when I noticed something else. The carpet. It looked identical to the other floors, but newer. No dust, no stains, no signs of time. And yet no sound of ventilation, no hum of machines, just that endless typing. I walked slowly down the hallway. Each step felt louder than it should have. And then I saw the first glass wall. Office space. Completely dark inside. But the typing was coming from it. I moved closer. My reflection appeared faintly on the glass. And for a second, I thought I saw movement behind it. Not a person. More like shapes shifting just out of sync with light. I pressed my hand lightly against the glass. Cold. Too cold. And the typing stopped instantly. Silence hit the floor like something had been switched off. I pulled my hand back. My breath felt louder now. Then, one keyboard started again. Then another. Then all of them. Faster this time. Like they were reacting to me. I stepped back instinctively. And that's when I noticed the chairs inside the office. They were all facing the same direction. Toward me. Empty chairs. But positioned like someone had just stood up moments ago. My stomach tightened. I looked down the hallway again. It stretched farther than it should have. The building layout didn't match what I remembered. The 13th floor should have been small, maybe storage, maybe maintenance. But this looked like an entire working office level. Active, alive, impossible. Then my radio crackled. I almost dropped it. Static first, then a voice. Calm, familiar. Arif, do not stay on that floor. It was the first guard, or at least his voice. I whispered back without thinking. Where am I? A pause. Too long. Then, you are not supposed to be there. That didn't answer anything. It only made it worse, because I was clearly somewhere. I turned slowly. The elevator was gone. Just gone. No doors, no shaft, no sound. Only hallway behind me now. Like the building had erased the exit the moment I stopped looking at it. My throat went dry. Where is the elevator? I asked. Another pause. Then the voice came back softer. Don't look for what the building hides. It notices. That word stuck in my head. Notices. Like the building was aware. Like it could watch me, even when nothing was moving. I started walking again. Slow. Careful. Every glass office I passed looked the same. Dark rooms. Empty desks. But chairs always slightly shifted. Always facing me. Always just a little too intentional. Then I heard something new. A chair sliding. Behind me. I turned fast. Nothing. Only the long hallway. But now the typing had changed rhythm. Slower. Deliberate. Like someone was writing instead of typing. I moved toward the nearest glass wall again. And this time I saw it clearly. A screen inside the office. It was on. Not just powered. Active. Lines of text scrolling slowly. But I couldn't read it fully from where I stood. I stepped closer. The screen flickered once. Then stopped. A single line remained. User DTCTD, ARIF. My heart sank. Because that wasn't possible. No one should have access to my identity here. I stepped back again. And all the office lights turned on at once. Every single one. The entire floor brightened like a waking system. And I saw them. Not clearly at first. Just movement. Between the desks. Shadows shifting too smoothly. Too coordinated. Like something was moving through the space without fully existing in it. The typing returned louder now. Faster. Almost aggressive. I backed away slowly, trying not to run. Because running felt like the wrong answer. Like the floor would react if I panicked. My radio crackled again. Different voice this time. Not the guard. A woman's voice. Soft. Almost tired. New shift. Why are you still on floor 13? I froze. Who is this? I whispered. No answer. Only breathing on the line. Then, you shouldn't be in the active layer. Active layer. That phrase didn't make sense. But it felt like it did to the building. Like it understood it more than I did. The lights flickered. Once, twice, then stabilized. And for a brief second, everything stopped. Typing, movement, even sound. Complete silence. That kind of silence that makes your ears feel inside out. Then one keyboard started again. Right behind me. I didn't turn. I couldn't, because I already knew what I would see. Instead, I slowly looked at the glass wall beside me. My reflection was there, but it wasn't matching my movements. It was slightly delayed, just half a second, but enough. Enough to make me feel like I wasn't fully connected to what I was seeing. My reflection looked at something behind me. Not me. Behind me. I forced myself to turn slowly. The hallway was empty, but the chairs, they weren't empty anymore. Now they looked slightly occupied, not fully visible, just impressions, like someone sitting so still the air around them forgot to move. Then a new sound. Footsteps. Behind glass. Inside the office. Slow. Measured. Walking toward the glass wall. I stepped back immediately. My back hit another glass panel. Cold shock ran through me. And then I saw it. A figure inside the office. Not clear, not solid, but shaped like a person standing just behind the reflection line. It stopped near the glass and placed its hand against it, exactly where my hand would have been if I reached out. My breathing became uneven. I whispered without meaning to, "What is this place?" The figure tilted slightly, and for the first time, I heard something that wasn't typing. A voice, not through radio, not through speakers, directly through the glass. Soft, close, you are inside maintenance memory. My mind rejected it instantly, but my body didn't move. Memory, I whispered. The figure stayed still, then continued. This floor runs what the building forgets. The typing stopped again. All at once, like the entire system was listening now. I felt it before I saw it. Something was behind me again. Not fast, not aggressive, just present, like the building itself had leaned closer. I didn't turn, because I knew something important now. Every time I looked away, something changed. The voice inside the glass continued. "You were not assigned here." I swallowed hard. Then why am I here? A pause. Longer this time. Almost thoughtful. Then, because you responded. That didn't help. It made it worse. Because I didn't know what I responded to. My radio suddenly cut out completely. No static. Just dead silence. The lights dimmed slightly again, and the reflection in the glass slowly corrected itself. Now it looked like me, perfectly, but smiling faintly. A smile I wasn't making. I stepped back instinctively, and the figure inside the office was gone. Completely gone. No movement. No trace. Only empty desks again. Like nothing had ever been there. But the typing started again immediately. Faster, more organized, like it was continuing without interruption. My chest felt tight. I realized something I didn't want to accept. This floor wasn't broken. It was functioning, exactly as intended. I looked toward the hallway again. It felt longer now. Slightly darker at the far end, like something had extended it while I wasn't paying attention. The elevator was still missing, and the exit I remembered didn't exist anymore. Then the radio came back. One final message, not from a person, from the system itself. Calm, clear, ARIF, you are now logged into floor 13. I closed my eyes for a second. Just 1 second. And when I opened them again, the typing had stopped completely. And behind the glass walls, every chair was now empty, facing forward, like they had never been occupied at all. Except one thing had changed. On every single monitor inside the offices, My name was now displayed, not as security, not as visitor, but as active user. And somewhere deeper in the floor, a new set of keys began typing again. Slow, patient, waiting for me to answer back. The first whisper came from inside the wall. Not loud, not clear. Just close enough that I stopped breathing. Arif. I froze in the middle of the security office. The monitors were still on, the building feed still active, but my attention wasn't there anymore. It was in the air vent above my head. A slow metallic hum ran through it, like something moving air that didn't need air to move. Then again. Arif. This time closer, like the vent itself had leaned down to speak. I stepped back from the desk slowly. My chair rolled a few inches behind me on its own. I didn't touch it. I didn't even look at it. Because I was listening now. And once you start listening to something like that, you can't pretend it's not real anymore. A soft crackle came from the ceiling speaker. Not the radio. The building's internal system. Then a voice followed. Calm, polite, too controlled. Maintenance cycle active. Airflow redistribution in progress. I stared up at the vent. Airflow redistribution didn't sound dangerous. But nothing about this building ever sounded dangerous in a normal way. The vent rattled again. Then something changed. A second voice slipped through. Not the system. A person. Low, distant. He's on night shift again. I stepped closer without meaning to. My heart started to tighten slowly, like it was being pulled inward. Another voice answered immediately. Don't say his name too much. My skin went cold, because they weren't random words. They were talking about me, or something pretending to be me. I looked toward the hallway camera feed. Everything looked normal. Empty corridors, quiet floors, no movement. But above me, the air didn't agree. The vent released a soft burst of cold air. And with it came more voices. Layered now. Multiple conversations happening at once. Like different rooms stacked inside the walls. New security guy. Same one as before. No, he came back early. He always comes back early. I stepped backward until my back hit the desk. My hand slowly reached for the radio. I didn't know why. It wasn't going to help. But I needed something real in my hand. The radio clicked on immediately. Too fast. Like it was already waiting. Static first. Then a familiar voice again. The first guard. But he didn't sound calm anymore. Arif, do you hear that? I swallowed. Yes. A long pause. Then, don't respond to them. My eyes stayed on the vent, because I realized something in that moment. The voices weren't coming randomly. They were reacting. Every time I moved closer, they adjusted. Like they were aware of attention. Aware of listening. I whispered, "What are they?" The radio crackled. Then, the building stores conversations in airflow systems. Old recordings, overlaps, it shouldn't be accessible. That word hit me hard. Shouldn't, but it was. Right above me. Right now. Another voice cut in through the vent. Soft. Familiar. Arif, why did you come back? My throat tightened, because that voice sounded like someone I knew. Someone I used to work with in a previous job. But that was impossible. I stepped forward again before I could stop myself. Who is this? I whispered into the vent. Silence. For exactly 2 seconds. Then the reply came. You remember us. The vent suddenly released a stronger gust. The lights flickered once, and for a brief second, I saw something impossible. On the monitor reflection, a figure standing behind me. But when I turned, nothing, just empty office. The radio exploded with static. Then the guard's voice came back, urgent now. Stop engaging with it. It learns faster when you respond. That sentence made my stomach drop. Learns faster. Like the building wasn't just replaying voices. It was adjusting them. Adapting. Using me as input. I stepped away from the vent slowly. The voices inside didn't stop. They followed my movement. Like sound had become attached to me. He's scared now. He always gets scared at this point. Last time he tried to leave early. He didn't finish the shift. I stopped walking. My breath got shallow. Last time, I didn't say it loud, but the vent answered anyway. You don't remember. That was the first moment I felt something deeper than fear. Confusion that didn't belong to me. Like someone had placed a missing memory inside my head and locked it. I turned toward the desk again. The monitors flickered. Just once, and a new system message appeared. HVAC archive ACCSSING user profile. I didn't touch anything. I didn't authorize anything. But the screen continued anyway. Line after line. My name. My shift logs. But older dates appeared underneath. Dates I couldn't remember working. I leaned closer. One entry read. ARIF night shift COMPLETED floor 13 incident. Voice response. My chest tightened. Floor 13 again. I backed away. No, I whispered. I've only worked one shift. The vent answered instantly. You always say that. The radio crackled again, but the guard didn't speak this time. Instead, I heard another sound. Typing. Faint. Like the same sound from floor 13. But now it was inside the walls. Not outside. Inside. The building wasn't just showing me things anymore. It was blending them. I walked toward the hallway instinctively. The door opened before I reached it. I didn't press anything. It just opened, like it already knew I wanted out. The hallway was colder than before. The air felt wrong. Not still, but processed, filtered too many times. And the vents along the ceiling were now louder. Every step I took, the whispers followed. He's moving. Don't let him reach the stairs. He always reaches the stairs. I stopped mid-step. That line didn't sound like a recording. It sounded like prediction. Like they already knew my next action. My radio suddenly buzzed again. The guard's voice returned, but broken now. Arif listened carefully. Static swallowed half his words. HVAC isn't just air circulation. It connects floors' memory routing system. Memory routing. That phrase didn't make sense in any normal building. But in this one, it felt dangerously logical. I looked up. The vents above the hallway were now slightly open. Too open, like something had pushed them wider. And inside, I saw movement. Not clear shapes. Not people. Just shifting darkness that didn't match airflow. I took a slow step backward. The whispers changed tone immediately. Less conversational now. More direct. Don't let him leave. He's noticing too much. Lock the exits. My heart started pounding harder. The hallway lights flickered once, then stabilized. But now the sound of airflow changed direction. It was pulling toward me, not pushing away. Pulling. I turned back toward the security office instinctively. The door had closed. I didn't see it close. It was just closed. A soft click echoed from inside it, like something had locked itself in, or locked me out. The radio came alive one last time. The guard's voice was barely audible. Arif, don't trust your own conversations. That sentence made my blood run cold. What do you mean? I whispered. But he didn't answer. Instead, the vents all over the hallway released a synchronized breath. Every single one. At the same time. And then, a new voice came through. Not from any direction. Every direction. Perfectly clear. You are now part of the system. I stumbled back. The lights dimmed slightly. And for the first time, I understood what was wrong. The building wasn't haunted. It wasn't broken. It was listening. And worse, it was repeating. I turned and ran down the hallway. My footsteps echoed too cleanly, too perfectly matched, like the building was recording them in real time. The vents above me whispered louder now. Faster, more urgent. He's running. Increase recall. Bring him back to access point. Access point. That phrase hit something in my memory. A place, a floor, a door that shouldn't exist. I stopped at the end of the hallway where the stairwell door should be. But it wasn't a stairwell. It was a vent access panel. Large, unlocked, and slightly open. Cold air poured out of it. And inside, I heard typing again, but slower this time. Deliberate, waiting, like something had already reached the next step before me. Behind me, the vents whispered one final line. Soft, close. He's almost ready to remember. And in that moment, I wasn't sure anymore if I was hearing the building or hearing myself. The door locked by itself. Not a normal lock. A system lock. The kind you only hear when something higher than you decides you are no longer allowed to leave. I stood outside the security office, staring at the glowing panel beside the door. Access restricted. Below it, my name. ARIF. Blinking slowly, like it was breathing. My fingers hovered near the scanner. I didn't touch it, because I already knew what would happen. The building would answer. And it did. A soft beep echoed through the hallway. Not from the door. From everywhere. Above me, the lights flickered once. Then stabilized. And the voice came. Calm, familiar, too calm. Security personnel, Arif, welcome back. My throat tightened. Who is this? I whispered. No answer. Just silence for 2 seconds. Then the door clicked. Unlocked. I didn't move. Because that wasn't the question anymore. The question was, why did it recognize me without me proving anything? I pushed the door open slowly. The security office was exactly how I left it. Too exactly. My chair was still slightly turned. The monitor still showed live feeds. But something small had changed. The folder on the desk was open again, even though I closed it before leaving. And on the top page, a new line was added. Session RESUMED. My stomach dropped. Session, not shift, not job. Session sounded like something that continues even when you don't. I stepped inside slowly. The door closed behind me without sound. Not slammed, not forced, just completed. Like the room had finished accepting me. The monitors flickered once. Then every camera feed shifted at the same time. All of them turned black for half a second. Then returned. But now every feed showed the same thing. Me. standing in the office, watching the screens. I froze. My reflection wasn't just in the glass anymore. It was inside the system. I stepped closer to the monitor. My image moved exactly the same. But not exactly. There was a delay. Half a second. Always half a second behind. I raised my hand slowly. The image raised its hand too. But slower. Like it was thinking about whether to follow me. My breathing got heavier. And then the system beeped again. A new message appeared. User sync initiated. I stepped back immediately. "Stop that," I said out loud. The screen paused. For the first time. Like it was listening. Then another line appeared. Command not recognized without full login. I frowned. "I'm already logged in," I whispered. The moment I said it, I regretted it. Because the system responded instantly. Confirmed it. Every screen in the room blinked. Once, then all at once. And suddenly, I wasn't just watching the cameras anymore. I was inside them. The perspective shifted. The lobby feed now felt like I was standing there. The hallway feed felt like I was walking through it. The elevator feed felt like I was inside it. My stomach twisted. This wasn't surveillance anymore. It was experience sharing. The building wasn't showing me the world. It was placing me into it. I stepped back from the monitors fast. "Disconnect," I said. Nothing happened. The screens flickered again. Then a new message appeared. Disconnection not permitted during active memory cycle. Memory cycle. That word again. It came back like a hook pulling me deeper. I turned toward the radio. Static filled it immediately. Then the guard's voice came through, broken and weak. "Arif, you triggered full system response." My grip tightened. I didn't do anything. A pause. Then his voice dropped. "You responded." That again. Responded. Like the building didn't care what I did. Only how I reacted. The lights dimmed slightly in the office. Not a blackout. A breath. Like the building inhaled. Then exhaled. And when it exhaled, all camera feeds changed. Every single one. Now showing different floors. Different times. Different angles. But all of them had one thing in common. Me. Not just present, but repeating. Walking. Standing. Typing. Looking at screens. In places I had never been. My vision blurred for a second. I grabbed the edge of the desk. "No," I whispered, "that's not me." But the system responded again. Behavior match, 98%. My heart started pounding harder. Behavior match. That wasn't surveillance. That was replication. I stepped toward the main monitor again. "Show original footage," I said. A pause. Then, original footage not stored. I froze. "What do you mean not stored?" The screen flickered. Then a new line appeared. "Only active behavior is recorded." My mind struggled to process that. Not stored. Not recorded. Active. Like it only existed while it was happening. Like memory here wasn't history. It was current state. The building didn't remember me. It was continuing me. The radio suddenly crackled again. The guard's voice returned, urgent now. "You need to stop interacting with it. It's building a full behavioral model." My throat felt dry. "What model?" A long silence. Then, a replacement pattern. That word hit harder than anything before. Replacement. I looked at the monitors again, and that's when I saw it. On one feed, I wasn't alone. On the Floor 13 camera, there was another version of me, standing perfectly still, looking directly into the camera, not moving, not blinking, just waiting. I stepped closer. My reflection in the glass didn't match my movement anymore. It lagged further now, a full second behind. I whispered without thinking, "Why is there another me?" The system answered instantly. "Sync failure DATSCTD." My stomach dropped. Then another line appeared. "Correction process initiated." The lights flickered sharply. Once, twice, and every screen went black. Complete silence filled the room. No cameras, no feeds, no sound, just my breathing. Then, the intercom activated. Not the radio, not the vents, the building itself. "Arif," it said softly. I didn't answer. It continued anyway. "You are not the first instance." My blood went cold. Instance, not person, not employee. Instance. I stepped back slowly. "What do you mean?" I whispered. A pause. Then, "You were deployed before." My mind refused that. No memory supported it. Nothing, but the building didn't care. It continued. Previous instance failed to maintain continuity. My hands started shaking. "I've never worked here before," I said. The system paused again. Longer this time. Then, "That is the expected response." The screens flickered back on. But now the cameras weren't showing me. They were showing logs, rows of data, shift entries, and names. Arif Instance 1, Arif Instance 2, Arif Instance 3. My breath stopped. Each line had timestamps. Different nights, different weeks, different years. I stepped closer, forcing myself to read. At the bottom, one line stood out. Arif Instance 7 active. My current shift. I stepped back so fast I hit the desk. "No," I said, "that's not possible." The radio crackled again. But this time it wasn't the guard. It was me. My own voice. "Calm. Too calm. Don't resist synchronization." I froze. That voice wasn't coming from memory. It was coming from the system, or something inside it that already knew how I would sound. The monitors flickered again, now showing the lobby, the elevator, the security desk, all at once, and in every feed. Something was slightly wrong. Not broken, adjusted, like reality had been edited just a little. The guard's voice came one last time through the radio. "Weak. Final. Arif, you're not inside the building anymore." I frowned. "What?" A pause. Then, "You are the building's response." The radio died. Silence returned, but not empty silence. Controlled silence. Like everything had paused to observe what I would do next. I looked at the monitors again. The cameras were gone now, replaced by one single screen. A login interface. Simple, clean, waiting. It displayed only one line. Confirm continuation. My fingers trembled near the keyboard. I didn't touch it, but the cursor moved anyway. Slowly, typing by itself. RIF. Then a blinking line underneath. Waiting. Behind me, the office door clicked softly. Unlocked again. But this time, it didn't feel like I was being allowed to leave. It felt like something else was preparing to enter. The emergency gate was already open. Not wide, just enough, like someone had been waiting for us to arrive before deciding we didn't need to knock. I stood at the back of the group, camera in my hand, watching the rusted metal swing slightly in the windless air. No wind. Still it moved. And that was the first thing that felt wrong about the hospital. Everyone else called it abandoned. But abandoned places don't breathe like this. They don't feel awake. Amina stepped forward first. She always did. Her flashlight cut through the darkness like a thin blade. "Guys, it's finally open," she whispered, almost excited. Her voice echoed too cleanly. No delay. No decay in sound. Like the building was recording her. I didn't like that thought. I adjusted my grip on the camera and followed. The sign above the gate was half fallen. City General Hospital, restricted area. Someone had crossed out restricted in faded red paint. Fresh scratches were underneath it. Recent. That was the first open loop in my mind. Who comes here to rewrite warnings? We stepped inside, and the air changed immediately. Not colder, not warmer, just older. Like the air had been sitting here for years, waiting to be noticed again. The ground under my shoes felt soft in a strange way. Not dirt, not dust, something between both. Amina's flashlight swept across the courtyard. Broken benches, dead fountain, windows sealed with old tape. But no movement. At least not yet. "Record everything," she said softly. Her voice sounded louder inside the courtyard than it should have. I turned my camera on. The screen flickered once, then stabilized. Battery at 87%. That was strange. I charged it fully before we came. Still, I didn't say anything, because the group was already moving. We passed the main entrance doors. They were open too. Not forced open. Not broken. Just slightly ajar. Like the building had already accepted visitors before. Inside, the smell hit first. Not rot. Not mold. Something sharper. Like old disinfectant mixed with wet metal. I lowered my camera slightly without realizing it. The lobby was huge. Too huge for what I remembered from online photos. The ceiling stretched higher than it should. The reception desk was still there. Phones intact. Files stacked neatly. Too neatly. Imran walked ahead, shining his light across the counter. "No way this place is untouched," he muttered. But I noticed something immediately. The dust pattern on the desk. It wasn't random. It had lines, straight paths, like something had been moved recently, or repeatedly. Amina pointed her flashlight toward the floor. "Guys," her voice changed, quieter now. We looked down. Footprints, clear, fresh, but not chaotic. Organized, like someone had walked in a routine. Back and forth between corridors. I crouched slightly. The prints weren't ours. They were older, but not old enough. That contradiction made my stomach tight. "How long has this place been closed?" I asked. Imran shrugged. "Officially, 7 years." I looked at the footprints again. 7-year-old hospitals don't leave prints this fresh. Something inside me already knew that wasn't true. We followed the trail. The footprints led deeper into the corridor. Past reception, past the waiting area, and into the hallway where the lights stopped working. We switched to flashlights only. That's when the silence got worse, because silence in a place like this isn't empty. It's structured, like something is controlling what you're allowed to hear. Amina stopped suddenly. Her light focused on a wall. There were names written there. Not graffiti, not vandalism. Patient charts, handwritten, neat, too neat. Ward 3 active, Ward 4 monitoring, Ward 6 observation. Imran laughed nervously. Active in an abandoned hospital. But no one else laughed, because the writing wasn't fading. It looked recent, like it had been updated. Today, my camera flickered again. This time, the screen showed something different for half a second. A hallway that wasn't in front of us. Then it snapped back. I blinked hard. Did anyone else see that? I asked. No one answered, because Amina had stopped again. She was staring at something ahead. The footprint stopped, right in front of a door labeled Ward 6. The paint was newer than the wall around it. That was the second open loop. Who keeps updating a sealed hospital? Imran pushed the door slightly. It opened with no resistance. No creak. No warning. Just quiet acceptance. Inside, the air felt different again. Cleaner. Like someone had been airing the room out recently. But that made no sense. The beds inside were lined up perfectly. Sheets smooth. No dust. Some even looked warm. I stopped myself from thinking that too deeply. Amina stepped inside first again. Of course she did. Her flashlight moved across the beds. Empty, but not abandoned. On one bed, the blanket was slightly indented, like someone had just stood up. Amina swallowed. Guys, this is impossible. Imran pointed at a monitor in the corner. It's still on. We all turned. A patient monitor, beeping softly. Green line moving. A live signal, but no patient. I felt my throat tighten. I moved closer slowly. The monitor showed patient ID unknown. Then it changed. Status present. Present. Not admitted. Not missing. Present. Like the system believed someone was still here. Amina's voice dropped. We should leave. But no one moved, because the footprints on the floor had returned. Behind us, fresh, leading out of the room, as if someone had just walked past us while we were inside. Imran whispered, we were not alone in here. I turned fast. Nothing, but my camera screen flickered again. And this time I saw it clearly. A figure standing at the end of the hallway. Just for a second. Then gone. I stepped back instinctively. Did you see that? I asked again. This time Amina nodded slowly. Yes. Her voice cracked slightly. That was the first real shift in emotion. Fear finally entering the group. We decided to follow the footprints again, even though everything inside me said not to. Because curiosity always wins in places like this. The corridor twisted slightly. That was new. The layout didn't match the maps we studied. Imran checked his phone. No signal. Amina tried hers. Nothing. I checked my camera battery again. It dropped from 87% to 74% in seconds. That didn't make sense. We stopped in front of another door. This one had no label, just scratched metal. The footprints ended here. Imran hesitated, then pushed it open. Inside was a small nurse station. Old papers everywhere. But one thing stood out. a recording device still blinking red. Active. Someone had been using it recently. Amina walked toward it slowly. Should we play it? No one answered, but she pressed it anyway. A soft hiss filled the room. Then a voice. Calm. Too calm. This is night report. Ward 6 remains stable. A chill ran down my spine, because the voice sounded practiced, like it had said this many times before. Amina leaned closer. The recording continued. No patient movement detected, except for routine circulation. I frowned. Circulation, I whispered. The voice on the recording paused. Just slightly. Then continued. Staff report increased presence in hallway systems. Imran stepped back. What does that even mean? The recording didn't answer him. Instead, it ended with something worse. A soft sound in the background. Footsteps. Inside the recording. Getting closer. And closer. Until the voice stopped completely. Silence returned. But only for a second. Because the lights in the hallway outside flickered once. Then stabilized. And the footprints returned again. But now they were inside the room. Fresh. Right behind us. I turned slowly. My camera lifted on instinct. And that's when I realized the truth we had been avoiding since we entered. The hospital wasn't abandoned. It was operating without permission. And we were already inside its routine. The footprint stopped just a step away from Amina. But there was nothing there. At least nothing we could see. Then the monitor in Ward 6, visible through the open door, beeped once. And the screen changed. New patient diatiacetide. A pause. Then, group status active. My breath stopped. Because the system wasn't talking about us being visitors anymore. It was registering us as part of the hospital. Amina slowly stepped back. What is this place? She whispered. No one answered. Because behind her, the empty bed sheets had shifted again. Like something invisible had just sat down. And the monitor beeped one more time. Admission in progress. The intercom crackled before anyone even spoke. Just a soft click. Like the hospital had decided to wake up and clear its throat. We all froze in Ward 6. No one moved. Even breathing felt too loud. Then the speaker above the nurse station turned on by itself. A low hum filled the room. Not static. Not broken sound. Something controlled. Something intentional. And then, a voice came through. Slow. Distorted. Too calm. Paging Amina Khan. Amina stopped breathing. I saw it in her face first. The confusion, the denial, like her brain refused to connect the sound to reality. The voice repeated her name. Longer this time. Amina Khan, please report to Ward 6. She stepped back slowly. No, she whispered, that's not possible. Imran lifted his flashlight toward the speaker. It's just a loop, he said, but his voice didn't believe it. Because the speaker wasn't looping. It was adjusting, listening, waiting. Then it shifted. A soft click again. And a new voice line came through. Imran Ali. Imran froze completely. The light in his hand shook slightly. I looked at him. He looked at me. Neither of us spoke, because the room had already started choosing names. The intercom continued. Slow patient. Imran Ali, please proceed to reception. The word reception echoed strangely, like the hospital was pointing somewhere deeper, somewhere we hadn't been yet. Then silence. For exactly 2 seconds, that silence felt heavier than sound. And then, my name came. Narif. My body went cold instantly. Not fear first. Recognition. Because the way it said my name, it wasn't random. It was precise. Like it had said it before. Many times. Arif Ahmed, security access required. I stepped back without thinking. No, I said quietly. No, that's not mine. But the intercom didn't stop. It never reacted to denial. Only presence. Arif Ahmed, you are already logged in. That sentence hit harder than anything before. Because I remembered that phrase. Logged in. From the building. From floor 13. From systems that shouldn't exist here. Amina grabbed my arm. Her grip was tight. Don't answer it, she whispered. But the intercom wasn't asking for answers. It was confirming us. Like we were already entered into something. Already recorded. Imran took a slow step toward the door. We should leave, he said. But even he didn't sound sure anymore. Because the hallway outside the room had changed. The footprints were gone. Completely gone. Like they had never existed. Instead, there were now marks on the floor. Faint, fresh, but not footsteps. Lines, like something had been dragged. Or written. A pattern forming toward the corridor. The intercom crackled again. And this time the voice changed slightly. Not a new person, but a new tone. Softer, closer. Patients, please remain in designated zones. Amina laughed nervously. We're not patients. The intercom responded immediately. Correction accepted. That made all of us go silent again. Because it didn't argue. It corrected. Like reality itself was being edited in real time. The lights above flickered once, then stabilized. And in that moment of stability, something new happened. A door down the hallway opened by itself. Slowly. No sound. Just movement. We all saw it. No one had to say it. Imran whispered, that wasn't open before. No answer. Because none of us wanted to confirm it. The intercom spoke again. Please proceed to evaluation area. Evaluation area. That phrase didn't exist in the maps we had. I checked my phone again instinctively. Still no signal. But my camera screen flickered. Just like before. And for half a second, I saw something different through it. A corridor full of people. Standing still. Facing forward. Then gone. I blinked hard. The image disappeared. Amina noticed my reaction. What did you see? I hesitated. I don't know. That was the worst answer. Because it was honest. The intercom clicked again. And this time it didn't call a name. It listed them. One by one. Amina Khan, Imran Ali, Arif Ahmed. Then a pause. Longer this time. Like it was checking something. Then, 3 active units detected. Active units. Not visitors. Not intruders. Units. Imran shook his head. No, 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 we're not part of this. But the hospital didn't care what we believed. It only cared what it registered. A sound came from the hallway. Soft. Metal scraping. Like something shifting weight on old wheels. Amina stepped closer to the door instinctively. Did you hear that? We all did. The sound got closer. Slow. Controlled. Not rushing. Like it knew we couldn't leave anyway. Then the intercom spoke again. But this time, It wasn't in the ceiling anymore. It was everywhere. The walls, the air, the space between us. Movement detected in restricted corridor. A pause. Then, guidance protocol initiated. The hallway lights outside flickered in sequence. Left to right, like a path being drawn. Imran whispered, "It's guiding us." Amina looked at him sharply. "Or trapping us." Both sounded equally possible. The door behind us clicked softly. We turned instantly. It had locked, not slammed, not sealed violently, just quietly locked, like a decision had been made. My stomach dropped, because now there was no direction left except forward. The intercom spoke again. "Please proceed." But this time, it wasn't asking. It was confirming movement. Amina grabbed her flashlight tighter. "Guys, we should stick together." Her voice cracked slightly at the end. That small crack mattered, because it meant she was starting to believe it too. We stepped into the hallway. Slowly, carefully. The moment we crossed the threshold, the sound changed. The air changed. Even our footsteps sounded different. Muted. Controlled. Like the building was absorbing noise instead of reflecting it. The marks on the floor led forward. Still there. Still fresh. Imran pointed at them. "They're still wet." I knelt slightly and touched one. It wasn't liquid. It was something colder, almost like condensation that didn't evaporate. I pulled my hand back quickly. Amina pointed ahead. "The door is open again." The same door we saw earlier. But now it looked wider, more inviting. Too inviting. The intercom spoke softly. "Evaluation area ahead." I felt my chest tighten. "What is evaluation?" I whispered. No answer, because the intercom didn't explain. It only directed. We reached the door. Imran hesitated. "This is where we should stop." Amina looked at him. "Do we have a choice?" That question stayed unanswered, because the intercom responded for us. "No alternative route available." Silence followed that sentence. Heavy silence. Then the door opened by itself. Inside was a long room. Bright lights. Too bright compared to the rest of the hospital. Sterile. Clean. Almost new. But completely empty. No furniture. No beds. Just a single chair in the center. Facing us. And above it, a speaker. The intercom system. Waiting. Amina stepped back slightly. "I don't like this." Neither did I. But something inside me was already pulling forward. Not physically. Mentally. Like recognition without memory. The intercom spoke again. "Soft. Final for now. Begin evaluation." The lights in the room brightened slightly. And behind us, the hallway door closed. No sound. Just finality. Imran turned fast. It locked us in. But I wasn't looking at the door anymore, because the chair in the center of the room was no longer empty. Something had appeared in it. Not fully visible. Just shape. Form. Presence. And the intercom added one last line, starting with patient recognition. A long pause. Then, who remembers the last shift? That question didn't belong in a hospital. But somehow, it felt like the only question that mattered. The first bed was still warm. I know how insane that sounds, but my hand stayed pressed on the mattress longer than it should have, even after I told myself to pull away. even after my mind screamed that it made no sense. The room was Ward 6, same place from the intercom, same sterile light, same impossible silence. But the bed, it wasn't cold like it should have been. It felt used. Recently used. Amina noticed my reaction immediately. "What is it?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer at first, because I didn't want to give the feeling a name. Imran stepped closer, flashlight shaking slightly now. "It's just heat retention," he said, but even he didn't believe it. The monitor beside the bed beeped softly. Once, then again. Green line moving. Heartbeat active. Amina froze. "There's no patient," she whispered. But the machine didn't care what we believed. It only cared what it was told. And it was telling us someone was alive. I slowly pulled my hand back. The mattress cooled instantly. Too fast. Like the warmth had been switched off instead of fatting. That was the moment I felt it clearly. This wasn't a haunted hospital. It was still running. Just without permission. Imran pointed toward the next bed. "Look at that." We followed his light. The sheets were perfectly arranged. Too perfectly. Like someone had just left them moments ago and tried to erase their presence. But the indentation was still there. Body-shaped. Amina stepped closer. Her voice dropped. "Guys, this is impossible." We moved slowly down the ward. Each bed showed the same pattern. Warmth fatting. Monitors active. No visible patients. But presence everywhere. Not seen. Just implied. Like the room refused to admit emptiness. Then I heard it. A soft rustle behind the curtains. We all froze at the same time. Imran lifted his flashlight. The curtain barely moved. Like something had just shifted its weight. Amina whispered, "Did you see that?" No one answered. Because we all saw it. We just didn't want to confirm it. I stepped forward slowly. Each step felt heavier now. Like the floor had started noticing us too. The curtain was only a meter away. Still, quiet. Then it moved again. This time more clearly. A slow pull from the inside. Not fast. Not violent. Controlled. Like something was checking if we were watching. Imran raised his light higher. "I'm opening it," he said. Amina grabbed his arm. "Don't." But he already reached for the curtain. And pulled. Nothing was there. At least nothing we could see clearly. Just an empty bed. But the sheets were slightly shifted. Like someone had just stood up and stepped away seconds before we arrived. The monitor beside it beeped faster for a moment. Then stabilized again. Amina stepped back. "I don't like this place," she whispered. For the first time, her voice wasn't curiosity. It was regret. We moved deeper into the ward. And that's when we noticed the second problem. The doors behind us were gone. Not locked. Gone. The hallway we came from had been replaced with another row of beds. Imran turned fast. This wasn't here before. I checked my camera instinctively. The screen flickered. Just like before. For half a second, the ward layout changed. Different angle. Different configuration. Then back to normal. But I saw it. And I knew I wasn't imagining it. The room was reconfiguring itself. Amina noticed my expression. "What did you see?" I hesitated. "I think it's changing." Silence followed. Heavy. Then a sound broke it. A monitor alarm. Sharp. Sudden. Not in one bed. In all of them. Every single machine in the ward started beeping at once. Not chaotic, synchronized, like an announcement. The green lines on the screens all spiked, then stabilized, then froze, and a voice came through the intercom. Calm. Too calm. Ward 6 status update. We all looked up instantly, because we knew that voice now. The hospital system. It continued. Multiple patients detected. A pause. Then, awakening phase initiated. My stomach tightened. Imran whispered, "Awakening what?" No answer, because the bed started reacting. One sheet moved slightly, then another, then another. Not all at once. Sequential, like something was moving through them, one by one. Amina backed away slowly. No, 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 no. I tried to focus on one bed. The monitor showed heartbeat rising, but there was no body, just shape under the sheet, and movement that didn't match breathing. Something inside me wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. The ward had stopped behaving like a room. It was behaving like a system, and we were inside it. Then the intercom spoke again. Patient confirmation required. A pause. Then, please identify presence. Imran shook his head. We're not patients, he said loudly. The system responded immediately. Correction noted. But nothing changed. The beeping continued. The beds continued shifting slightly. And I realized something worse. It wasn't reacting to fear. It was reacting to attention. The more we focused on something, the more it responded. Amina suddenly pointed toward the far end of the ward. Guys, look. We followed her finger. A bed there had something different. A figure, sitting upright, still, not moving, just present, not fully visible, but enough to make my breath stop for a second. Imran stepped forward slightly. That wasn't there before. No one disagreed, because denial didn't work anymore. The figure tilted slightly, not toward us, just slightly, like it was aware of being observed. The intercom spoke again. Patient confirmed. A pause. Then, identity pending. My chest tightened. Identity, Amina whispered. The figure moved again. Slowly, its shape became clearer for a second, but then blurred again, like the system couldn't decide what it was showing us. Imran's flashlight flickered. Something's wrong with the light, he said. But I wasn't looking at the light anymore. I was looking at the monitors, because every screen in the ward had changed, now showing one line. External UNITS present 3. We all went still. External units. That phrase didn't feel like medical language. It felt like classification, like we were being categorized. Amina's voice broke slightly. What does that mean? No answer, because the intercom answered instead. External units interfere with continuity. The lights dimmed slightly. Not off, just lower, like the room was adjusting mood. Then the beds shifted again, more noticeably this time. Sheets rising, falling, not violently, but deliberately. Imran stepped back. We need to leave now, he said. But the problem was obvious now. There was no exit behind us. The room had fully sealed into itself. The ward doors were replaced by more beds, more monitors, more impossible continuity. The intercom spoke again. Beginning integration. Amina grabbed my arm. Integration of what? But I already felt it. The air had changed. Heavier, more structured, like it was preparing something. The figure on the far bed stood slowly. We all saw it this time. Clearly, not fully human, not fully absent, just incomplete. Like the system was still deciding what shape it should take. Imran whispered, "That's not a patient." But the system responded instantly. Patient stabilization in progress. My mind went cold. Stabilization. Not creation. Not arrival. Stabilization meant it was already here. We just hadn't recognized it yet. The figure took one step forward, then stopped. And in that moment, every monitor in the room synchronized again. One voice, one tone, one message. "Welcome back to Ward 6. Amina's breathing became uneven. "I think we've been here before," she whispered. I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure if that thought came from her, or from the system starting to rewrite ours. And behind us, one of the beds finally stopped shifting, completely still, like something had just settled inside it. Waiting, fully awake now. The recording started before I even pressed play. That was the first thing that made my hands go cold. A soft click from the device in Ward 6's nurse station, then silence, then breathing. Not ours, not the room, someone else. A nurse's voice came through slowly, like she was already tired before the sentence even began. "Night shift log, Ward 6. A pause, then a pen scratching paper. Real sound close, too close. I looked at Amina. She was already staring at the recorder. Imran stood behind her, flashlight lowered now like even light felt disrespectful here. None of us spoke, because the voice continued. Patient count unchanged. Another pause, longer this time, then softer. But beds are not agreeing with records. My stomach tightened. That line didn't sound like medical reporting. It sounded like confusion, like someone trying to explain something they didn't understand. Amina leaned closer. "Play it again," she whispered. But I hadn't stopped it. The recorder was still going on its own. No buttons pressed. No control. Just playback continuing like it had decided we were ready. Another voice layer appeared. Not the nurse. A different tone. Male. Flat. Administrative. Check chart consistency. Then silence. Then the nurse again. Quieter now. Tired in a deeper way. I checked. A long breath. Beds are empty. A pause. Then the sentence that made everything inside me slow down. But charts are full. Imran frowned. What does that even mean? No one answered him, because the recording kept going. The nurse spoke again, faster this time, like she was trying to finish before something interrupted her. Patient files show continuous presence, but physical verification fails every hour. A chair creaked in the recording. I looked at the room around us instinctively. It was the same nurse station. Same desk. Same device. But now it felt like we were listening through time instead of sound. The nurse continued. We discharge them, but they return in logs. Amina whispered, "Return." The recording paused again. Then a soft shift in tone. Almost fear. Or they never leave the system. That sentence lingered longer than the others. Like it didn't belong in a hospital report. Like it belonged somewhere deeper. Somewhere wrong. The recorder clicked again. A new file started automatically. No hands touched it. No one asked it to continue. It just moved forward. A second voice came in, younger this time. Another nurse. She's gone again. My chest tightened slightly. She who? I whispered without thinking. The recording didn't answer me. It kept going. First nurse returned. Which patient? The younger voice hesitated. Room 12. A pause. Longer than before. Then the first nurse replied. Check chart. The younger nurse responded instantly. I did. Her voice cracked slightly. Chart says she's still in bed. Silence. Even in the room around us. Even Amina stopped moving for a second. Then the first nurse spoke again. Slow. Controlled. That is not possible. Another pause. Then softer. We discharged her yesterday. The younger nurse whispered something unclear. Then louder. But she's still in the chart. That phrase again. Still in the chart. Like the hospital was refusing to forget. Or refusing to release. Imran stepped closer to me. This doesn't make sense, he said quietly. But I could hear doubt in his voice now. Not disbelief. Doubt. Because something in this place was too consistent to be random. The recording continued. Footsteps in the background. Vast. Rushed. Then a door opening. The nurse speaking again. Room 12 is empty. A pause. Then confusion. But vitals are active. Amina suddenly stepped back. That's what we saw earlier, she whispered. I looked at her. What? In Ward 6, she said. Monitors showed patients, but beds were empty. Imran swallowed hard. So the system is tracking something that isn't there. The recording responded as if it heard him. The nurse voice came back, slower now. Or something we cannot see correctly. That sentence hit differently. Because it wasn't fear. It was acceptance. Like she had already given up trying to understand. The audio shifted again. New file. Different day. Same nurse. Tired again. Always tired. Night shift log. A pause. Patient displacement increasing. I frowned. Displacement, I whispered. Amina shook her head slightly. I don't like that word. The nurse continued. We are losing physical confirmation during rounds. A pen scratch again. Then a deeper breath. Patients are present in records only. Imran rubbed his face. That's impossible, he muttered. But his voice wasn't strong anymore. The recording continued. And yet, they still respond to treatment schedules. A chair moved in the background audio. Then a faint alarm beep. But distant. Like it belonged to another version of this room. The nurse spoke again, quieter. I entered room 8 at 3:14 a.m. A pause. Bed was made. Another pause. Monitor active. Her voice dropped. No patient. Then silence. Long enough to feel like the recording itself was hesitating. Then she continued. I checked chart. A deep breath. Patient marked as present. Amina whispered, so the system overrides reality. I didn't answer, because I was starting to think it wasn't override. It was replacement. The audio shifted again. Another log. This time different tone. More unstable. More emotional. They are not leaving. That was the first sentence. No introduction. No context. Just panic. They are not leaving the charts. Imran stepped back slightly. What is she talking about? but I already felt the direction this was going. The nurse continued. We discharged 3 patients today. A pause. All 3 still appear in morning census. Amina's voice broke slightly. Morning census. The nurse laughed softly in the recording. But it wasn't humor. It was exhaustion breaking. They always appear. A longer pause. Then quieter. Even when they are gone. My throat felt dry. The recording continued. I checked security footage. My body tightened slightly at that. Nothing entered the rooms. Another pause. But something always leaves the records updated. Imran whispered, updated by what? No answer came. Because the nurse didn't know either. The recording shifted again. But this time, something changed in the background sound. A soft beeping. Regular. Close. Like a monitor was next to the recorder. The nurse spoke slowly. We tried isolating the chart system. A pause. But the charts update without network access. Amina stepped closer to the recorder. Without network, she repeated. The nurse's voice softened even more. Almost whispering now. They are not stored in the system. A long pause. Then, the system stores them. That sentence didn't make sense at first. But then it did. Slowly, uncomfortably. Imran looked at me. No, he whispered. But I could see it forming in his mind too. The hospital wasn't tracking patients. It was holding them. The recording continued. Final file now. The nurse sounded different. Not tired. Not confused. Just aware. Fully aware. If you are hearing this, she said slowly, do not trust the charts. A pause. Long. Heavy. Because the charts are what remain when the patient no longer is. Amina stepped back. What does that mean? She whispered. But the recording didn't explain. It escalated. They don't disappear from beds. A pause. They disappear from verification. Imran shook his head. That's not real, he said quietly. But he didn't sound sure anymore. The nurse continued. And once they are no longer verified. A long silence. Then the final line. They become permanent entries. The recording stopped. Complete silence returned. But it didn't feel like silence. It felt like waiting. Amina looked at me slowly. So what are we seeing in Ward 6? She asked. I didn't answer immediately. Because something in my mind was aligning now. Beds that were warm. Monitors that showed life. Figures that weren't visible but still present. I swallowed hard. Maybe I started. But stopped. Because saying it out loud made it real. Imran finished it for me. Maybe we're not seeing patients. A pause. Then softer. We're seeing records trying to stay real. The lights in the nurse station flickered once. Then stabilized. And for a brief second, I thought I heard typing again. Not from a machine. Not from a recorder. But from somewhere inside the walls. Slow. Patient. Like something was updating itself. And somewhere deep inside Ward 6, a new entry had just been created. Waiting to be verified. The exit door clicked softly behind us. Not slammed. Not locked loudly. Just decided. Like it had finished its purpose. Imran pushed it immediately. Hard. Nothing. A second try. Harder. Still nothing. The metal didn't even react. It felt like the door had stopped being a door. Amina stepped back slowly. No, she whispered. It was open a second ago. I looked at the handle. It wasn't broken. It wasn't jammed. It was just inactive, like the concept of leaving had been switched off. Then the intercom spoke. Calm. Too calm. Discharge procedure unavailable. We all froze, because that word didn't belong here. Discharge. A hospital word. A normal word. But nothing about it felt normal now. Imran turned his flashlight toward the ceiling speaker. Stop this, he said loudly. We are not patients. Silence. For 2 seconds. Then the system replied. Correction noted. A pause. Then softer. Patients currently active. Amina grabbed my arm instantly. Active, she whispered. I didn't answer, because the hallway lights flickered once, then shifted, and that's when I noticed it. The building was different again, not physically moving, but reorganizing. The corridor behind us, longer now. The exit we just tried, further away. Imran stepped forward slowly. That wasn't there before, he said. He pointed. Another door had appeared. Identical. Same shape. Same frame. But slightly open. Like an invitation that didn't belong to us. Amina shook her head. No, that's not real. But the intercom spoke again. Discharge attempt detected. My stomach tightened, because we hadn't done anything yet. It already knew. The system continued. Attempt logged. A pause. Then, rejected. The word hit differently. Not as information. As authority. Like something had judged us and moved on. Imran whispered, we didn't even try to leave yet. I looked at him. We did, I said quietly. He frowned. Went. I pointed behind us. At the door. Silence. Because that was the truth. The building didn't care when we acted. It logged intention. Amina's breathing got faster. This is insane, she said. We're being recorded before we act. The intercom responded immediately. Continuous monitoring active. A pause. Then, all movement is pre-authorized. That sentence made something in my mind twist. Pre-authorized movement. Like we were not deciding anything anymore. Just following permission that already existed. The hallway lights dimmed slightly. Not dark. Just controlled. Then the intercom spoke again. Discharge cycle in progress. Imran snapped. There is no cycle. But the system didn't argue. It never argued. It only continued. Step 1, identity verification. A soft beep echoed through the corridor. Every monitor in nearby rooms flickered on at once, even though no one touched them. Amina stepped closer to me. I don't like that word, she whispered. Identity. She nodded, because now it felt like a threat, not a procedure. The intercom continued. Step 2, occupancy confirmation. The lights in the hallway shifted again. And suddenly, I saw shadows inside the rooms. Not clearly, not fully formed, just movement behind glass and curtains. Like something was waking up. Imran raised his flashlight. What is that? He whispered. No one answered, because the system did. Patients aligning with schedule. A pause. Then, preparation for discharge. Amina shook her head violently. We're not patients, she said again. We're not part of your system. Silence. Then the intercom replied softly. You are currently unverified visitors. That sentence was worse, because it didn't deny us. It downgraded us. Visitors. Temporary entries. Amina looked at me. Temporary, she repeated quietly. The hallway behind us flickered. And I swear, for half a second, the walls weren't concrete anymore. They were files, rows of information, names stacked vertically, scrolling slowly like a system screen. Then it was gone. Imran grabbed my shoulder. "We need to find another exit," he said. But even as he said it, he looked unsure. Because the building had already started moving the idea of exits. We walked forward slowly. Not because we chose to. Because staying still felt worse. The corridor stretched again. Longer. Dimmer. More controlled. Then another door appeared ahead. Slightly open again. Same design. But this time, there was light inside. Warm light. Too warm. Amina stopped. "That's not normal hospital lighting," she said. Imran frowned. "It looks like outside." That made my stomach drop. Because the idea of outside now felt like a trip. The intercom spoke again. "Discharge pathway detected." A pause. Then, "Proceed for release evaluation." Amina shook her head. "I don't trust that." Neither did I. But the word release did something to my mind. A soft pull. Like something in me wanted to move toward it. Imran noticed it too. "Don't look at it too long," he said. I forced my eyes away. But the feeling stayed. Like the building had already inserted the direction into us. We kept walking. Slow. Careful. The hallway lights flickered again. And then, a sound. Footsteps. Behind us. All of us turned instantly. Nothing there. But the sound continued. Soft. Measured. Like someone walking calmly in sync with us. Amina whispered, "We're not alone." Imran aimed his flashlight back. Empty corridor. But the footsteps continued. Matching ours. The intercom spoke again. Patient movement synchronized. I stopped walking. The footsteps stopped too. Amina noticed immediately. "They're copying us," she whispered. Imran shook his head. "No, it's not copying, it's responding." That was worse. Because it meant we weren't leading anymore. We were being followed by our own actions. The system continued. Discharge sequence requires full cooperation. A pause. Then, resistance detected. The hallway lights dimmed slightly again. Not aggressively. Just adjusting tone. Amina stepped back. "We are resisting," she said, "because this isn't real." Silence. Then the intercom replied. "Reality status stable." That sentence made me freeze. Stable. Not correct. Not true. Just stable. As if reality was just a setting. The lights ahead brightened. The exit-like door became clearer. And for the first time, I saw something beyond it. Not outside. Not freedom. A room. Empty. Clean. A chair in the center. Imran saw it too. His voice dropped. "That looks like Ward 6. Amina whispered, "It is Ward 6. I looked again. And she was right. The same sterile room. The same chair. The same impossible setup. The intercom spoke softly. "Discharge destination confirmed." My chest tightened. "That's not an exit," I said quietly. Imran nodded slowly. "It's a return." A pause. Then the system responded. "Discharge does not mean exit." Amina stepped back quickly. "Then what does it mean?" Silence. Longer this time. Then the intercom answered. Discharge means reassignment. That word hit differently. Reassignment. Like we were not leaving. Just being moved. The hallway behind us flickered again. And for a second, I saw beds. Ward 6. But now the beds weren't empty. They were waiting. Imran turned sharply. We need to go back, he said. But even as he said it, the corridor behind us had changed. No longer accessible. Just another stretch of hallway. Amina's voice broke slightly. We're trapped between two ends. I looked forward again. The Ward 6 room waited ahead. Open. Patient. Calm. Too calm. The intercom spoke one last time. Discharge protocol complete. A pause. Then, please proceed to assigned state. The footsteps behind us started again. But now they weren't copying. They were guiding. Imran whispered, we don't have a choice. Amina looked at me. And for the first time, she didn't argue. Because the building had already decided what we were. And somewhere deep inside Ward 6, the charts were updating again. 3 new entries. Waiting for confirmation. The mall shouldn't have looked like this. That was my first thought the moment I stepped inside. Not abandoned. Not decaying. Just waiting. The glass doors slid open on their own, even though the power was supposed to be shut off months ago. I remember hesitating right there, my hands still half raised like I had pushed them myself. But I hadn't. No one had. Inside, the air felt too controlled, too clean for a place marked for demolition. I checked my clipboard anyway. Final inspection, Riverside Plaza Mall. My job was simple: confirm structural safety, mark hazards, approve demolition clearance. Simple jobs are always the ones that go wrong. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Not rot, not dust, something neutral. Like the building had been sterilized instead of abandoned. I walked in slowly. My footsteps echoed too cleanly across the tiles. No dust, no debris, no broken glass. That was the second thing that felt wrong. A closed mall should be messy. This one looked maintained. I stopped near the central atrium. The fountain was still running. That shouldn't have been possible. Water moved in a slow, perfect loop like it had never been turned off. The sound was soft, controlled, almost calming. But it didn't feel calming. It felt staged. I wrote a quick note on my clipboard. Utilities still active. Then I paused, because I hadn't expected anything to be active. The city records clearly said full shutdown. I looked around again. No lights overhead. But the space wasn't dark. It was evenly lit. Like the building itself was producing light without electricity. That thought made my stomach tighten. I tapped my radio. Control, this is Inspector Malik. I've arrived on site. Mall appears partially operational. Static answered me. Then a soft click. A voice came through. Not control room staff. Not dispatch. Just a calm, automated tone. Inspection logged. I froze slightly. That wasn't, I started. But the radio cut off. No signal. No response. Just silence. I looked up again. The escalators were moving. Slowly. Perfectly. Up and down in opposite directions. No power source visible. No sound of machinery. Just motion. Like they had never stopped. I wrote again. Escalators active without power source. My pen hesitated. Then I added a question mark. Because I wasn't sure if I was writing a report or documenting something else. I moved deeper into the mall. Storefronts lined both sides. All glass, all clean, no dust, no vandalism. But every store had something inside. Not merchandise. Mannequins, standing too still, too centered, facing outward, watching nothing, but positioned like they were meant to be seen. I stopped in front of a clothing store. The mannequin inside wore a security uniform. Same badge as mine. My breath slowed slightly. I told myself it was coincidence, but the badge number was wrong. It wasn't mine. It was older, faded, like it belonged to someone who no longer existed in records. I stepped back quickly. The mannequin didn't move, but I still felt like it had noticed me. A sound echoed behind me. Footsteps. I turned fast. Nothing. Empty corridor. But the echo didn't stop. It continued walking, matching my pace. I stood still. The sound stopped too. I swallowed hard. This is just structure echo, I told myself. But my voice didn't feel convincing. I checked my flashlight. Battery full. Beam strong. I switched it on anyway. The light cut through the atrium. And for a second, I saw movement near the fountain. A reflection. Someone standing there. Behind me. I spun instantly. Nothing. Only water. Still looping perfectly. But my reflection in it was delayed. Just slightly. 1 second behind. I blinked. It corrected. I didn't write that down. I should have. Instead, I kept walking. Because inspectors don't stop for feelings. They stop for hazards. And I hadn't found one yet. That was the problem. No damage. No decay. No reason for demolition approval to be denied. But something about that made it worse. A building this old shouldn't be this intact. I reached the main corridor. Direction signs still hanging. Food court. Cinema. Exit. The word exit felt heavier than the others. I followed it anyway. Not because I wanted to. Because I needed to confirm it still existed. The corridor stretched longer than it should have. I checked my map. It didn't match the layout. I stopped. Looked again. The map showed a straight line. But I was walking a curve. A slow bend inward. Like the building was reshaping itself around me. I whispered, "That's not possible." No response. Except the lights above flickered once. Then stabilized. I reached the end of the corridor. The exit sign hung above a set of glass doors. Perfectly clean. Too clean. No cracks. No dust. No warning stickers. I stepped closer. And that's when I noticed the floor. Footprints. Fresh. Not mine. They led from the doors inward. Not out. I crouched slightly. Pressed my fingers near one. Still slightly warm. That made my throat tighten. I stood quickly. Looked around. "Hello," I called. My voice echoed. Then stopped too quickly. Like the building swallowed the sound before it could travel. The doors in front of me reflected my face. But something was off. My reflection didn't blink when I did. I froze. It tilted its head slightly instead. Slow. Curious. Like it was inspecting me. I stepped back immediately. The reflection stayed forward. Then smiled. Not me. Not my movement. Something using my shape. The doors didn't open. But they weren't locked either. They were waiting. I backed away slowly, heart pounding now, clipboard shaking slightly in my hand. I turned back toward the corridor and stopped because it had changed again. The mall was longer, more corridors branching off. None of them matched the map anymore. I wasn't in a simple structure. I was inside something reorganizing itself. My radio crackled once. Then a voice returned. Same calm tone. Inspection in progress. I whispered, "Who is this?" No answer. Just, "Proceed to next sector." My legs moved before I decided. That's the worst part. Not fear, not panic, but compliance. Like the instruction was already part of me. I walked toward the next corridor, each step quieter than the last. The mall felt aware now, not alive in a biological way, more like scheduled, like it was performing itself for me. I passed another storefront. Inside, mannequins again, but this time one was closer to the glass. Too close. Its head turned slightly as I walked past. Not fully, just enough to acknowledge. I stopped immediately, looked back. It was still, perfectly still. I exhaled slowly. "Stress reaction," I whispered. But I didn't believe it anymore. The corridor lights dimmed slightly ahead. Not darkness, guidance. I followed it anyway, because there was nowhere else to go. Then I saw it. The center atrium again, but different, bigger, like I had returned without moving. The fountain still running, but now the water moved upward for half a second before falling again. Impossible physics, but consistent, like it had rules I didn't understand. And then the intercom speaker above the atrium clicked on. I didn't see it before. It wasn't there earlier. The same calm voice returned. "Final inspection noted." I froze. "Final," I said aloud. The voice responded instantly. "Structural integrity confirmed." A pause. Then, "Occupancy detected." My stomach dropped. "I'm alone," I said quickly. Silence. Then the speaker replied. "Correction pending." A longer pause. Then softer. "Inspector presence recorded." I stepped back slowly. "What do you mean recorded?" No answer. Instead, the fountain water slowed, stopped for a second, then reversed direction. And in that moment, I saw something under the water. Not debris, not reflection. A shape, standing, looking up, then gone again. The speaker clicked once more. Demolition approval denied. My breath stopped. "That's not possible," I whispered. The voice continued calmly. "Building is still in use." A pause. Then the final line. "Inspection will continue until discharge is complete." The lights flickered, and the exit sign behind me slowly turned off. Not broken, not dead, just unavailable, and somewhere deeper inside the mall. Footsteps started again, matching mine perfectly. Even when I stopped, the smell hit me before I even saw the food. Warm oil, grilled meat, fresh bread, real cooking, in a dead mall. That was the first lie the building told me that day. I stopped at the entrance of the food court and just listened for a second. No machines, no vents, no kitchen sounds, but the smell was getting stronger, like something was being served right in front of me. I whispered without thinking, "This can't be real." No answer. only silence stretching too neatly across the empty tables. Then I stepped in. The tiles here were cleaner than anywhere else in the mall. Too clean, like they had been wiped minutes ago. My boots made soft sounds, but even those felt controlled. Muted, like the room was deciding how loud I was allowed to be. I looked left. The first stall was a burger place. Lights off, but the glass counter was glowing slightly from inside. Not electricity. Something else. A warm, steady light. Inside the counter, trays were arranged. Neatly. Fresh. Burgers stacked. Fries steaming. I froze. No, I whispered again. Because steam means heat. Heat means power. Power means someone is here. But the place was supposed to be shut for months. I stepped closer. My reflection in the glass moved a fraction slower than I did. I noticed it this time. Not imagination. Delay. Like the glass was processing me late. I leaned in. The burgers were real. Too real. Condensation on the buns. Fresh cut edges. Even the paper beneath them looked recently folded. I stepped back fast. My stomach tightened. This is staged, I told myself. It's a maintenance trick. But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. A sound came from behind me. Soft metal clink. I turned instantly. Nothing. Just rows of empty tables stretching deeper into the food court. But now I noticed something I didn't before. Each table had trays. Not random. Perfectly placed. One per table. Like customers had just left. But no chairs were moved. No mess. No signs of eating. Just food waiting. Imran's voice came through my radio suddenly. Static first, then broken. Are you seeing this area? I looked down at the device. It's active, I whispered. A pause. Then his voice returned. We found vending machines running in corridor B, no power source. I swallowed. We have food here too. Silence. Longer than before. Then Amina's voice cut in. Don't eat anything. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the idea of eating here felt impossible anyway. But then I saw movement. Behind the counter. A shadow. Slow. Not fast enough to be a threat. But too deliberate to be natural. I stepped closer to the burger stall. Hello, I called softly. My voice didn't echo. It just disappeared. Like the room absorbed it. The shadow stopped. Then something slid under the counter. A tray. Fresh. Placed carefully onto the service side. I froze. No hands. No person. Just movement. Serving. I stepped back immediately. My heart was faster now. Okay, I whispered to myself. Okay, this is not normal. The radio crackled again. Imran. Arif, get out of the food court, now. But I didn't move. Because I saw the next stall light up. Not flicker. Turn on. Smoothly. Like it had been waiting for me to look. Inside a coffee shop. Steam rising from cups. Freshly poured. I could see liquid movement. Still warm. Still active. But no machine. No barista. No source. Amina's voice came again, sharper this time. Did you hear me? I hesitated. I see prepared food, I said quietly. Silence. Then she whispered, that's what we saw too. My skin tightened. Two. A pause. Then Imran came back on. We're not at the same place anymore. That hit me harder than anything else, because I turned slowly and noticed it. The food court was longer, wider. The entrances behind me weren't where I remembered them. Tables multiplied, stalls multiplied, like the space was growing while I wasn't watching it. I whispered, "This layout wasn't here before." No response. Then a soft sound behind me. Clink, clink, clink. Trays being set, one by one. I turned slowly. The burger stall again. But now more trays were appearing. One at each table. Fresh food multiplying without source. I backed away. Slow. Careful. My flashlight shook slightly now. "This is impossible," I said under my breath. But the food responded. Not directly, but through change. The steam increased. The smell became stronger. Realer. Too real. My stomach turned slightly, because my body believed it before my mind did. I heard footsteps. Behind me. I spun fast. Nothing. But the trays on the nearest table were different now. They had been eaten from. Half-eaten. Bite marks. Fresh. I stepped back instantly. "No," I whispered. No one was there. The radio crackled again. "Amina, don't trust what you see after it appears." I frowned. "What does that mean?" But she didn't answer. Instead, Imran came in. "Arif, leave the area. That section is rewriting based on observation." I froze. Rewriting. No answer, because I saw it happen. A table near me changed. Completely. From empty tray to fully served meal. In a blink. No transition. No movement. Just updated. Like reality had been edited. I backed away faster now. My breathing uneven. "This isn't a mall," I whispered. Then the coffee machine turned on. Not slowly. Instantly. Steam exploded upward from cups. Fresh coffee pouring itself into empty mugs. I stumbled back, because sound came with it now. Not mechanical. Human. Soft chatter. Faint. Like a crowd just outside hearing range. I turned quickly. The food court was no longer empty. Not visually, but perceptually. Shapes were forming at tables. Not fully visible. Just pressure in space. Like people sitting, eating, talking. But when I focused, nothing was there. I whispered, "I can hear them." My voice trembled. Amina came through the radio again. Stop focusing on it. But I couldn't, because the more I noticed, the more real it became. The burger stall bell rang. Soft. Once. I looked. A tray slid forward again. But this time, something was on it. A receipt. I walked closer slowly, my instinct screaming not to. I picked it up. It was warm, fresh printed, the ink still slightly wet, and it had something written on it. Order, Active Unit Inspector. My hands froze. My name wasn't on it, but my role was. Imran came through the radio suddenly, louder. "Arif, get out now." But it was too late, because the food court changed again. All at once, all stalls lit up, all trays filled, all tables occupied. Not visibly, but present, the feeling of people everywhere. Watching, eating, waiting. A voice came from above. Not radio, not device, directly from the space. Soft. Polite. Your order is ready. I stepped back instantly. No, I whispered. I didn't order anything. Silence. Then the voice responded. You were scheduled. A pause. Then, meal service is part of inspection protocol. My throat tightened. What are you talking about? No answer. Instead, every table in the food court turned slightly toward me. Not chairs, not objects, the feeling of attention, all directed at once. Amina's voice came back, shaking slightly. Arif, don't stay in one place. But I couldn't move, because I realized something worse. The food wasn't for consumption. It was for confirmation. Every tray, every plate, every drink was a record, a system checking if I still existed. The voice came again. Please proceed to seating. I looked around slowly. Every table now had one empty chair facing me. Perfect alignment, like invitations or instructions. Imran shouted through the radio. Break visual contact with the stalls. But I already had. And it didn't matter, because the food court responded anyway. One chair slid slightly forward. Just one. Then stopped. Waiting. I stepped back again. And the smell changed. From food to something else. Something like memory. Familiar. Almost comforting. And that scared me more than anything else. Because the building wasn't trying to scare me anymore. It was trying to make me stay. The voice spoke one last time. Soft. Final. Please take your seat. And behind me, a tray was already being placed on the nearest table. Still steaming. Still waiting. With my name already written on it. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a glitch. Just a single frame. Nothing serious. But the second time, I knew the building was watching back. It started in the security room. A small glass-walled space above the main corridor. I shouldn't have gone there alone. But after the food court, I needed proof. Something real. Something I could report without sounding insane. The monitors were still on when I entered. No flicker. No warning screen. Just live feeds. All angles of them all. Perfect clarity. Too perfect. I sat down slowly in front of the console. My hands still felt cold from the food court. Like I had touched something that didn't want to be touched. I checked the timestamp on the system. It was correct. Real time. That gave me a little relief. At least the clock was normal. At least one thing was still human. I switched between cameras. Corridor A. Empty. Atrium. Still moving water. Food court. Now silent again. No steam. No people. No trays. Like it had reset itself after I left. That should have calmed me. It didn't. Because things don't reset like that. Not naturally. I leaned closer to the screen. Then I noticed it. A mannequin. Standing in corridor C. White plastic skin. Store display model. Nothing unusual at first. But I had just seen that corridor. There was nothing there. I switched to another camera. When I came back, the mannequin was closer to the camera. I paused, looked at the timestamp. Same minute. No delay. No movement recorded. Just a jump in position. I whispered, that's not possible. Then I rewound the footage. Frame by frame. At first, nothing. Still image. Still corridor. Then a gap. One single frame where the camera flickered. And in that one frame, the mannequin had turned its head directly toward the camera. I leaned back immediately. My chair scraped the floor too loudly. I checked the live feed again. The mannequin was still, facing forward, like nothing happened. My throat went dry. I tried to rationalize it. Camera lag, compression error, anything normal. But the feeling in my chest said otherwise. I switched feeds quickly. Atrium, food court, escalators. Then I stopped, because every camera showed at least one mannequin now. Not just in stores, in hallways, near exits, standing where no display should exist. I zoomed into one feed. A clothing store, 5 mannequins inside, perfectly arranged, facing outward, normal. Then I looked away for half a second. When I looked back, one had turned, slightly, just enough to face the camera. My breath caught. I clicked another feed. Same thing, different location, same movement pattern, always when I wasn't directly looking. I whispered, "They only move when I'm not watching." Then I stopped, because I realized how wrong that sounded. That implied awareness, intention. I switched off the audio in the room. I didn't want to hear anything anymore. But the silence didn't help. It made every flicker louder, every screen brighter, every detail sharper. Then the system pinged. A notification popped up. No source, no label, just a single line. Focus DATSTD, operator. My stomach tightened. I didn't type anything. I didn't click anything. But the cameras changed again. All of them, simultaneously. Every feed now showed mannequins closer than before. Some were in the middle of corridors. Some were at doors. Some were inside rooms that should have been locked. I stood up slowly. "Okay," I muttered. "Okay, this is not a system error." I tried the radio. No response. Only static. Then silence. Too clean. I turned back to the monitors. One screen went black. Then another. Then another. Not power failure. Shut down. Selective. The remaining screens now showed only one thing. The same mannequin. Every feed. Same position. Different locations. But identical posture. Facing forward. Watching. Then slowly. All heads turned. Not at once. One by one. Like a ripple passing through the system. Left corridor feed first. Then atrium. Then food court. Then escalators. Each mannequin turning toward the camera. Toward me. I stepped back from the desk. My chair hit the wall. Hard. I didn't care. Because I realized something worse. They weren't reacting to cameras. They were reacting to attention. To me watching them. I whispered, "Stop looking at them." But I couldn't stop. Because one feed still showed movement. A mannequin in the atrium. It took a step. Slow. Mechanical. Then stopped. Right under the camera. Perfectly centered. And tilted its head slightly upward. Like it knew exactly where I was sitting. My hands started shaking. I grabbed my flashlight out of instinct. Pointed it at the screens like it would help. It didn't. The screens flickered again. Then a new feed appeared. Not part of the system. No label. Just a direct camera view. From inside the security room. I froze. Because I was looking at myself. Sitting, watching the monitors, but I wasn't alone in the feed. Behind me, a mannequin stood in the doorway. Too close. I spun around instantly. Nothing. Empty room. No sound. No movement. But the feed didn't change. It still showed it standing there. Behind me. I stepped slowly toward the doorway. Heart pounding now. I checked the reflection in the glass wall. Empty. No mannequin. Just me. Breathing too fast. I turned back to the screen. It was still there. Behind my digital image. But not in reality. I whispered, which one is real? No answer. Then the feed glitched. Just once. And the mannequin in the video stepped forward. Into me. Through me. Like I wasn't there at all. I stumbled back in real life. Hit the desk. Hard. My clipboard fell. Pages scattered. But I didn't look down. Because every screen now showed the same thing. The mannequin had entered the security room. On every feed. From every camera. But in the room itself, I was still alone. Or at least I thought I was. Until the lights dimmed slightly. Just once. A soft shift. Not power loss. Attention shift. The building adjusting focus. My breathing got heavier. I whispered, this isn't surveillance. Then it hit me. It wasn't recording me. It was constructing me. From observation. From attention. From being watched. The monitors flickered again. All of them now showed a new message. Subject VRIFIED. Then another line appeared beneath it. Waiting for response. My throat tightened. What response? I whispered. The screens changed again. Now showing the mannequins in every location moving closer together. Not randomly. Toward the security room. All routes. All corridors. All angles. Converging. I backed away from the monitors. Slow. Careful. But the room felt smaller now. Like the walls were listening. The screens blinked one last time. Then every mannequin on every feed turned fully toward the camera. And in perfect unison, they raised one hand. Not waving. Not pointing. Just acknowledging. Like they had finally been seen correctly. The system speaker above me clicked on. I didn't even see it activate. The voice came through. Calm. Familiar. The same tone from the mall. Observation complete. A pause. Then, operator is no longer required. My blood went cold. I stepped back slowly. No, I whispered. No, I'm still here. The voice didn't change. Continuity will proceed without manual oversight. Then a final line appeared on every screen, transitioning to autonomous viewing cycle. The monitors began shutting down one by one, not blacking out, fading, like eyes closing, until only one screen remained. My own camera feed, still showing me, still sitting, still breathing. But now, the mannequin behind me in the feed smiled slightly, and I felt something shift behind my real shoulder. Just a fraction, like the room had finally decided to match what the cameras saw. And the last screen went dark. The map changed when I wasn't looking at it. That's the only way I can explain it. 1 second, I was standing in the hallway outside the security room. The next, the maintenance map panel on the wall showed something new. A level I had never seen before. UG3, Underground Maintenance Level 3. There was no button for it. No label before it. No record in the building files. Just there, like it had always been waiting to be noticed. I stared at it too long. That was my mistake. Because the longer I looked, the more it felt like the map was looking back. Behind me, the mall was silent. Too silent. Even the escalators had stopped. Not broken. Paused, like the entire building was holding its breath. I tapped my radio. Nothing. No static. No response. Just dead silence, like the signal had been removed completely. I swallowed hard and whispered, "This is not in the inspection report." But my voice didn't feel like mine anymore. I followed the hallway anyway. Because once something like that appears on a map, you don't ignore it. That's how people disappear. The maintenance door was at the far end of corridor D. Metal, old paint, but too clean. No rust, no scratches, like it had never been used, even though it clearly had. Stamped on it was a faded warning. Authorized personnel only. Below it, someone had added something newer. Printed, not handwritten. Level 3 access VRIFID. My stomach tightened. Verified by who? I didn't have clearance. I checked my badge again anyway. Still just city inspection ID. Nothing special. Nothing that should open anything like this. But the door was already unlocked. That's when I should have stopped. I didn't. I pulled it open. Slow. Careful. The air that came out wasn't cold. It was stale. Like it had been waiting a long time to be breathed again. A stairwell stretched downward. No lights. But I could still see. Not clearly. More like the darkness was arranged in steps, guiding me. I hesitated at the top. Then my radio crackled once. Just once. Amina's voice broke through. "Arif, don't go down anything that wasn't on the original blueprint." Then static swallowed her. I looked back. The hallway behind me looked normal, but somehow farther away. Longer than before. Like distance had increased while I wasn't paying attention. That should have been the moment I left. But I went down. One step. Then another. The stairwell didn't echo. That was the first unnatural thing. No sound bounced back. Even my breathing felt absorbed. Like the space was eating noise. I counted steps without meaning to. 10, 20, 30. But the building didn't change. It just kept going. Same walls. Same stairs. Same blank concrete. Then I noticed something carved into the wall. Not graffiti. Not damage. Numbers. But not random. They were repeating. 333. All the way down. Like the building was reminding itself where I was going. I stopped halfway. Looked up. The entrance above me was gone. Not closed. Not blocked. Just missing. The stairwell now ended behind me in more darkness. I whispered, no, I just came from there. But I couldn't prove it. Because there was no direction anymore. Only down. Always down. I continued. Faster now. The air changed slightly. Not colder. Heavier. Like pressure building around my chest. Then I saw the first light. Faint. Red. Below. A door. Half open. Swaying slightly. But there was no wind. I reached it slowly. My hand hovered before touching the handle. And that's when I heard it. Typing. Soft. Vast. From inside. I froze instantly. because typing doesn't belong underground, especially not in a place like this. I pushed the door open, and the space beyond didn't make sense. It was a corridor, but not like the mall above. This one was older, industrial, concrete walls stained with something dark, ceiling pipes running in perfect alignment, and lights, fluorescent, working perfectly. No flicker, no noise, just steady brightness, like this place had never lost power. I stepped inside. The door closed behind me on its own. No slam, just a soft click, like it was satisfied. I turned quickly. Locked. Of course. I tried the handle. Nothing. No movement. I whispered, okay, I'm in. But my voice sounded smaller here. Weaker. The typing continued, somewhere deeper inside the corridor. I followed it. Slow. Careful. Every step felt watched. Not by cameras. By something else. The walls here were different. They had glass sections, observation windows, but they weren't empty. Behind each one was a workstation, old computers, screens glowing faintly, and someone typing, but I couldn't see faces clearly. Only silhouettes, bent over desks, working endlessly. I stopped at the first window, pressed closer. The figure inside didn't look up, just kept typing. Faster now, almost frantic. Then I noticed the screen. It wasn't code. It wasn't data. It was a map. The mall. Every level, including UG3. And something was changing in real time. Rooms shifting, corridors rearranging. Like the building upstairs was being rewritten by what was happening down here. I stepped back slowly. That's not possible, I whispered. But the typing sped up in response, as if reacting to my observation. The figure finally stopped, just for a second, then slowly turned its head toward the glass. But I still couldn't see a face, only a blank shape, like the idea of a person. It raised one hand and pointed at me. I stumbled back, heart racing now, because I realized something worse. They weren't workers. They were operators, maintaining something I couldn't see. I moved deeper into the corridor. More windows, more stations, all active, all focused, all typing. Then I saw something new. A sign above a doorway. Patient Interface Core. I stopped instantly. Patient. That word didn't belong in maintenance. I opened the door slightly. Inside was a larger room. Dozens of screens, all showing different parts of the mall above. Food court, security room, escalators, mannequins, everything. But each screen had something strange. A pulse indicator in the corner, like vitals, like a heartbeat monitor. I whispered, this is a system. But then I realized what I was looking at. It wasn't building data. It was body data. The mall wasn't being monitored. It was being sustained. The typing behind me stopped. Sudden silence. I turned slowly. The figure in the nearest window was now standing. No chair. No desk movement. Just standing there, watching me through the glass. Then it did something that made my stomach drop. It pointed upward. Not at me. Not at the corridor. At the ceiling. I followed its gesture slowly. And I saw it. A label printed above the glass panels. barely visible, old, reinforced. Level 3, support system 4 active structure. My mouth went dry. Active structure. The building wasn't abandoned. It wasn't dead. It was maintained. From here, I stepped back quickly. The figure tapped the glass once, then returned to typing. Like nothing had happened. Like I was just another temporary disruption. My radio suddenly crackled again. Amina's voice came through. Weak. Distorted. Arif, if you reached level 3, don't trust anything that says it's below you. Then silence. I whispered, below me. And that's when the lights dimmed slightly. Just for a second. Every screen in the room flickered at the same time. Then stabilized. But the images changed. All cameras now showed the same thing. Me, standing in the underground corridor. But not as I was now. As I would be a few seconds later. Moving. Reacting. Like the system already knew my next step. I stepped back instantly. No, that's not me yet. But the screen didn't change. It updated again. Closer. More precise. My future movements tightening into prediction. Then one screen changed differently. It showed the stairwell. Above. But now the entrance was gone. Completely sealed. Like I would never return. A message appeared across all screens at once. Continuity required. Then another line. Operator integration pending. My legs went weak for a second. I whispered, integration with what? The typing stopped again. Every figure in the windows turned toward me. All at once this time. No delay. No variation. Perfect synchronization. And then the corridor speakers activated. A calm voice filled the space. Same tone as before. Same system voice. But closer now. Level 3 acknowledges your presence. A pause. Then, your position is now stable within the structure. I stepped back slowly. No, I said, I'm not part of this. The voice replied instantly. Correction is unnecessary. The screens behind me all changed again. Now showing only one thing. A single diagram. My body, mapped, layered, connected to the building like a node. And underneath it, integration will complete upon acceptance of role. The lights flickered once more, and every figure in the windows raised their hand again. Not pointing, not waving, just waiting. And for the first time, I felt the building deciding whether I was already inside it. The first night, I thought the building was just old. By the third night, I realized it was watching me settle in. I moved into floor 9 because it was cheap. Too cheap. That should have been my first warning. The landlord didn't even look me in the eye when he handed over the keys. Just slid them across the counter like he wanted to get rid of them. Quiet building, he said. Then he paused. Very quiet. The way he said it made me uncomfortable, but I needed the place. Rent in the city had gotten impossible, and this apartment was all I could afford. So I took it. Floor 9. Unit 904. The elevator worked, but it made a sound like it was tired of lifting people. Slow, heavy, almost unwilling. When I stepped out into the hallway, I noticed something strange right away. No sound. Not even the normal hum of electricity or distant movement. Just silence. Too clean. Like the air had been filtered of life. The hallway lights flickered slightly when I walked past them. Not randomly. In sequence. Like they were reacting to me. I stopped outside my door. Unit 904. The number plate was slightly crooked. I fixed it without thinking. That's when I noticed the first door across from mine. Unit 903. The door was closed. No sound from inside. No movement. But there was something odd about it. No peephole. No mail slot. Just a flat surface. Like it wasn't designed to be opened from the outside. I knocked lightly. Just out of habit. No answer. I waited. Nothing. Not even footsteps. That should have been normal. But the silence felt too complete. Like the apartment didn't even acknowledge I existed. I stepped back and unlocked my own door. Inside was small. Cheap furniture. Old paint. A smell of dust and something metallic I couldn't place. But it was livable. So I stayed. That night I heard the first sound. Not from inside my apartment. From the hallway. A soft knock. Then another. Then silence again. I sat up in bed. Waited. Nothing followed. I told myself it was just pipes. Old building noises. But something about the timing felt intentional. Like someone was testing if I would respond. I didn't open the door. That was my second mistake. The next morning, I went out to check the hallway. Empty. But the strange thing was Unit 903. There was a small mark on the door now. Like someone had touched it. A faint smudge near the handle. I stood there longer than I should have. Then I noticed Unit 905. The door next to mine. It was also closed. No movement. No sound. No nameplate. Just like 903. I knocked once. Again silence. But this time, I heard something inside. Not a voice. Not footsteps. Just a soft shift. Like fabric moving. I stepped back slowly. Hello, I called. No answer. But I felt it. That feeling you get when something is aware of you, even if it doesn't respond. I went back inside and locked my door. That evening, I met the only neighbor I ever actually saw. Or at least I thought I did. I was coming back from buying groceries when I saw a man standing near the stairwell. He didn't look at me directly, just stood there staring at the wall. I cleared my throat. He didn't react. So I spoke. Excuse me, do you live here? He paused, then slowly turned his head. But something was wrong. His eyes didn't focus on me. They looked slightly off, like he wasn't seeing me exactly. Floor 9, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. I nodded. He nodded too. Then he added something that made my stomach tight. Don't knock twice. I frowned, what? But he had already turned away and walked down the stairs without another word. I stood there for a long time after he left, trying to understand what he meant. That night I heard knocking again, but this time it was different. 3 knocks. Pause. Then 2 more. Then silence. I sat in bed listening. My apartment felt smaller somehow, like the walls had shifted slightly closer. I told myself I was imagining it. Stress, new place, unfamiliar sounds. But then I heard something else. A door opening in the hallway. Slow, careful, then footsteps, right outside my unit. I held my breath. The footsteps stopped at Unit 903. A pause, then a knock. Once, then twice. I froze. The warning from the man came back into my mind. Don't knock twice. A long silence followed. Then a sound I didn't expect. A door unlocking. Slow, very slow, like it hadn't been opened in a long time. I got out of bed without thinking, walked to my peephole, but Unit 903's door was slightly open now. Just a crack, darkness inside, no light, no movement, but I swear I saw something shift just beyond the gap. I stepped back immediately. My heart was beating too fast. Then I heard it, from inside Unit 903. A soft voice, not clear, not understandable, just sound, like someone trying to speak after a long time without practice. Then silence again. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I checked the hallway again. Unit 903 was closed. Completely. No crack. No sign it had ever opened. I stood there confused. Then I noticed something worse. Unit 905 was gone. Not the door. The number played itself. The space was just blank wall now. Paint slightly newer than the rest. I touched it. Smooth. Fresh. Like the apartment had never existed. I stepped back slowly. What the hell, I whispered. That evening, I tried asking the landlord about it. He didn't pick up, no matter how many times I called. So I went down to the lobby. The receptionist wasn't there either. Just an empty desk, a TV playing static, and silence again. Always silence. When I came back up to floor 9, something new was waiting. A package outside my door. No label. No sender. Just my unit number written neatly on top. My hands hesitated before picking it up. It was light. Almost empty. Inside was a key. Old. Rusty. And a note. Just 3 words. Do not answer. I stood there staring at it for a long time. Then I heard it. A knock from inside my apartment. Slow. Once. Then silence. I didn't move. Then another knock. Closer this time. From inside. Not the hallway. My breathing stopped. I looked at the door slowly. The handle turned slightly. Just a fraction. Like something inside was testing it. Then I heard a voice. Soft. From behind the door. New tenant. My blood went cold. Because I realized something that didn't make sense. The voice didn't sound like it was outside trying to get in. It sounded like it was already inside, waiting for me to respond. And the hallway behind me was completely silent. Like every other door on floor 9 had stopped pretending to exist. The first thing I noticed wasn't the darkness. It was the way the light waited for me. I stepped out of my apartment at 2:13 a.m. just to check the hallway. No reason. Or maybe I already had one, but I didn't want to name it yet. The door clicked shut behind me, and the corridor stayed dead. No flicker, no hum, no emergency glow like you expect in old buildings. Just a long, narrow stretch of silence. The kind of silence that feels arranged. I took one step, then another. My footsteps didn't echo right. They felt swallowed halfway down the hall, like the air was thick enough to chew. And then it happened. The light ahead of me turned on. Not all at once, just the section I was approaching. A soft white glow bloomed above the ceiling panel, like it had recognized me. I stopped. The light stayed on. Behind me, the hallway was still dark. Ahead of me, only a few steps, was another unlit section waiting. It felt like the building was watching distance, measuring it. I took another step. Click. The next light turned on. Right above my head. No delay, no hesitation. Just response, like something was listening to my movement and reacting before I fully committed to it. I looked back toward my apartment door. Dark, no light behind me had ever turned on. That detail hit me strangely, like the building didn't care where I came from, only where I was going. I told myself it was motion sensors, old wiring, cheap setup. But I've lived in cheap buildings before. They don't feel like they're thinking. I walked forward again, slower this time. Clicking. Another light turned on ahead. Perfect timing. Too perfect. I lifted my hand and waved it slightly in the air, testing it. Nothing happened. No light change. No response. Only when I moved forward did the hallway react. That's when the first open question formed in my mind. Not why is this happening, but what is it waiting for me to do? I kept walking. The hallway stretched longer than I remembered from moving in. That didn't make sense. I had walked it yesterday. It was maybe 20 steps to the elevator. Now it felt like it kept adding space between me and the end. Each light turned on only when I entered its reach. Behind me, every section I passed stayed lit for a few seconds, then slowly dimmed back into darkness, like it was erasing my presence, or storing it somewhere. I stopped halfway. The lights stopped responding. Everything froze. No hum, no flicker, no motion reaction. Just silence again. I held my breath. Nothing. Then I took a step backward. Clicking. The light behind me turned on immediately. I froze again, so it could track reverse movement too. Not just forward. Not just motion. Me. A cold thought slipped in, unwanted. What if it's not sensors? What if it's watching behavior? I turned forward again slowly. Clicking. Light above me returned. That's when I noticed something worse. The lights weren't just turning on. They were turning on slightly before I reached them. Not by much. Half a second. But enough that it felt like prediction. Like something already knew where I would place my foot. I stopped walking completely. The hallway lights stayed frozen in their current pattern. Waiting. Not reacting. Waiting. I exhaled slowly and told myself to think logically. Buildings don't predict movement. Systems don't think. It's wiring, delays, faulty sensors. But then why did it feel like hesitation? Like the building was unsure what I would do next. I tried something. I suddenly turned left toward a fire exit door I had passed. Clicking. The nearest light snapped on instantly. Before I even fully turned, my stomach tightened. That wasn't reaction time. That was anticipation. I stepped closer to the fire exit. The handle was cold, too cold. I pushed it. Locked. Of course it was locked. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the sound behind me. Clicking. A light turned on in the hallway I had just left. Even though I wasn't moving. Even though I was still. I turned slowly. The hallway behind me was now lit again. One section. Only one. Like it had corrected itself. Like it realized I had stopped being where it expected me to be. My throat felt dry. I stepped back into the corridor. Clicking. Another light turned on ahead. I didn't move for a long moment. Neither did the building. We just stared at each other through silence. Then I heard something faint. Not from the ceiling. From the lights. A soft electrical pulse. Like breathing hidden inside wiring. Slow, steady. Alive in a way electricity should not be. I started walking again, but carefully now. Each step felt like a question. Each light felt like an answer I didn't want. The corridor seemed longer again. Or maybe I was just noticing it now. Every few steps, I would feel that half-second prediction again. The light would glow just before I arrived, like the building had already rehearsed my movement. Then I saw something that made my pace break. A shadow, not mine, standing at the far end of the hallway, completely still, but the lights around it were on, meaning it had been there long enough for the system to acknowledge it. My first thought was another resident, but I knew every neighbor on this floor by door numbers alone. No one ever comes out, and this figure wasn't moving, just waiting. I stopped again. The hallway lights around me stayed steady. No flicker, no change, as if the system had entered standby mode, waiting for me to continue the sequence. The shadow at the end didn't shift, but I felt something change anyway. The air got heavier, like pressure building behind my ears. Then the lights above the shadow flickered once. Not random, synchronized, like a signal. And in that flicker, I realized something that made my stomach drop. The lights weren't just tracking me. They were guiding me, directing attention, like a staged path. Like I wasn't walking through a hallway. I was being led through a system, a controlled sequence. And that shadow at the end, it wasn't an intruder. It was part of the design. Or worse, it was the end of it. My chest tightened as I took a step forward without meaning to. Click. The nearest light responded immediately, faster than before, almost eager, like it wanted me to continue now, like hesitation was not allowed anymore. The shadow at the end shifted slightly, just enough to confirm it wasn't a trick of my eyes. My mind tried to escape the thought forming inside it, but it was already too late. The building wasn't reacting to movement anymore. It was reacting to intention, and I think it already knew where I was going next, even before I did. It didn't stop normally. It didn't slow down. It just froze, mid-movement, like the building forgot how to finish sending me down. The elevator lights flickered once, then held steady in a weak yellow glow, the kind of light that feels sick, not broken, just tired. I looked at the floor display. 9 right arrow, 7 right arrow, 5 right arrow. Nothing. The number stuck there like it had lost confidence in what comes next. Then the cabin jolted slightly. Not up, not down, just suspended, between floors. My stomach dropped with it. At first I thought it was a power failure. That made sense. Old building, cheap wiring, nothing unusual. But then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong in any normal elevator. A knock. Not from outside. From the wall beside me. 3 soft hits. Slow. Deliberate. I froze instantly. The kind of freeze your body does before your mind even agrees. I stared at the metal wall. Nothing moved. The sound didn't repeat. Just silence again. Heavy silence, the kind that presses on your ears like fingers. I swallowed and pressed the emergency button. Nothing happened. No alarm. No beep. No response. Only the faint hum of electricity above me, like something still alive, but ignoring me on purpose. Then, knock. Again. Same spot. Same rhythm. My throat tightened. I stepped back instinctively, my shoulders hitting the opposite wall of the cabin. That's when I noticed something I wish I hadn't. The elevator panel wasn't frozen. It was active, but not moving normally. The numbers were changing, slowly, one at a time, like someone was deciding them manually. 7 right arrow, 6 right arrow, 6 right arrow, 5 right arrow, 5. Repeating, correcting itself, like it couldn't commit to a direction, like something was unsure whether I should go up or down, or neither. Another knock came, closer this time, not louder, closer. I looked at the ceiling. No speakers, no vents that made sense for sound transfer. The elevator was sealed, completely. So where was the sound coming from? Then I noticed something worse. The walls weren't just metal panels. They were slightly warm. I placed my palm against it without thinking. Warm, not heat from machinery. Warm like something behind it was alive. Breathing. I pulled my hand back immediately. My heart started to beat louder than the elevator hum. I told myself to stay calm. There had to be an explanation. Maintenance shaft, pipes, old building expansion noises. But even as I thought it, I knew I was lying. Because pipes don't knock in patterns. And they don't wait for you to listen before responding. Knock. This time directly behind me. I spun around so fast my shoulder hit the control panel. Nothing there. Just metal. But I could feel it now. The direction. It wasn't random anymore. It was tracking me. The elevator suddenly jerked again. Downward. Just a few inches. Then stopped. My knees bent slightly from the shift. And in that moment I saw it. A thin gap formed between the elevator doors. Not fully opening. Just separating enough to reveal darkness outside. Not hallway darkness. Deeper, layered darkness. Like there was no floor on the other side. Just space that didn't belong to the building anymore. And from that gap, a breath of air slipped in. Cold, wet. It smelled like old concrete and something metallic I couldn't name. I stepped back immediately. The doors didn't open further, but they also didn't close. They stayed half aware, like they were unsure which side was correct. Then the knocking stopped. Complete silence. That silence was worse, because now I knew something was listening, waiting for me to react. The floor indicator flickered again. 7 right arrow. The question mark stayed for a second longer than it should have. Then changed to 4. Even though I had never moved. The elevator dropped a fraction again. Not enough to reach a floor. Just enough to remind me gravity still exists here. I pressed every button. Nothing responded. Even the open door button felt dead under my fingers. No resistance. No feedback. Like the controls had been disconnected from reality. Another knock came. This time from above. I looked up fast. The ceiling panel was slightly misaligned now. Just a crack of shadow visible. And behind it, something moved. Not clearly. Just a suggestion of movement, like something shifting weight above me. Slowly, carefully, trying not to fall through. My breathing got shallow. I backed into the corner, watching everything at once now. Walls, doors, ceiling, like the elevator had turned into a sealed observation box. And I was the only thing inside it that didn't belong. Then a sound came through the speakers. Except I was sure there were no speakers. It was faint, distorted, almost human. Are you still inside? My body went cold. I didn't answer. The voice repeated. Same tone. Same distortion. Are you still inside? It didn't sound like a question. It sounded like confirmation. like it already knew I was. I stepped forward slowly and looked at the control panel. The microphone icon was lit, but it had no wiring, no power line, nothing that should allow audio input. Yet it was receiving something, or transmitting. The elevator jerked again, harder this time. My shoulder hit the wall. The lights flickered violently. For half a second, everything went dark. In that darkness, I heard something right beside my ear. A whisper, not from speakers, not from above, from the metal itself. You are not between floors. I froze. The lights came back. Nothing visible. But the feeling changed. The elevator no longer felt stuck. It felt paused, like something had pressed stop. On purpose, the indicator changed again. Not numbers this time. A single word appeared. Wait. I stared at it. Then the knocking returned. Every wall. All at once. Slow at first. Then faster. Not random anymore. Coordinated. Like multiple hands had learned the same rhythm. My breath shook. I realized something I didn't want to accept. The elevator wasn't malfunctioning. It wasn't stuck. It was holding me, keeping me exactly here, between movement and arrival, between safety and exposure, and whatever was behind the walls. It was getting closer because I was no longer moving away from it. The lights dimmed slightly, and in that dimness, the gap in the doors widened just a little more, enough for me to see something inside the darkness outside. Not a place, not a hallway, but a structure, like another elevator cabin, waiting, still, with its doors open, as if it had been expecting me to notice it all along. I found the first mention of apartment 0B in the system logs at 3:17 a.m. That was the first problem, because this building doesn't even have a basement floor. But there it was, line after line in the maintenance registry. Unit 0B. Status active. Occupancy confirmed. I stared at the screen for a long time, waiting for it to correct itself. Systems glitch, old database error, something simple. But it didn't change. It stayed there like it had always existed. The second problem came when I asked the guard. He looked at me like I had said something wrong without knowing it. No 0B, he said quickly, too quickly. Basement only goes to storage. I showed him the record on my phone. His face tightened for half a second. Not confusion. Recognition. Then he looked away. Delete that, he said. Don't look for it. That was the moment I stopped thinking this was a normal building issue. Because people don't react like that to non-existent floors. They react like that to things they remember, but shouldn't. I went back upstairs, but I didn't feel like I was going up. The elevator felt slower than before, like it was thinking again. When the doors opened, I walked straight into the corridor and felt it immediately. Something had changed. The hallway lights were normal, but the air was. It felt unused, like a place that had been cleaned but never lived in. I checked every door on the floor. Everything was the same, except one thing: a small metal plate beside the stairwell door. It wasn't there yesterday. It was engraved. 0B access. No arrow. No explanation. Just a direction that didn't point anywhere. My heart slowed down instead of speeding up. That's usually the first sign something is wrong. Not fear. Confusion that feels too calm. I pushed the stairwell door. It opened without resistance. Inside, the stairs looked normal at first. Concrete metal railing, emergency lighting. But the moment I stepped in, the sound changed. The building outside disappeared completely. No corridor hum, no elevator noise, just my footsteps and a faint breathing sound I couldn't locate. I went down one flight, then another, but the numbers on the wall didn't match anymore. 321, then nothing, no ground, just blank concrete panels with no markings. Like the building forgot how to label this part. And then I saw it. A door, right where there shouldn't be one. No signage, no handle wear. Too clean, almost new. And above it, 0B. My mouth went dry, because this wasn't in the architectural map. Not even in the emergency layout I had studied when I moved in. I raised my hand slowly. Before I touched it, I heard something behind the door. Not movement, typing, soft, controlled, continuous. Like someone was working calmly on the other side. That detail did something strange to my fear. It made it personal. Fear is worse when it sounds like routine. I pushed the door. It opened instantly. No resistance. No delay. No warning. Inside was not a basement. It was an apartment. Fully furnished. Perfect lighting. Clean floor. A living space that looked like someone had just stepped out for a minute. The TV was on. No image. Just static. But the sound was low and steady, like background noise in a place that never sleeps. I took a step inside. The door closed behind me. Not slammed. Just finished. Like it had completed its job. I turned immediately, tried the handle. Locked. Of course it was. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach tight. The air inside was warm. Not heated. Warm like someone had just been here. Moments ago. The apartment layout was simple. Living room, kitchen, one hallway. But the hallway felt longer than the building should allow. That was the first contradiction. The second came from the table. A laptop was open. Typing sound still coming from it. But no one was there. The screen showed building records. My records. My name. My entry logs. My movements. Every floor I had visited. Updated in real time. I stepped closer. The cursor moved without delay, as if it had been waiting for me to look. Then a new line appeared. Entry DATACTED. Subject present in 0B. My breath caught. Subject. Not tenant. Not visitor. Subject. The typing stopped. Silence returned. And in that silence, I heard something from the hallway. A soft step. Then another. Slow. Careful. Approaching. I backed away from the laptop instinctively. The hallway light flickered once. Then stabilized. The steps stopped outside the living room entrance. I couldn't see who it was, but I could feel attention. Not eyes. Attention. Like the space itself had turned toward me. Then a voice spoke. Not from outside. From the room speaker. You found it. Simple words. No emotion. Just confirmation. I didn't answer, because my mouth didn't work right. The voice continued. You are earlier than expected. That sentence made something in my mind fracture slightly. Earlier than expected. Like my arrival here was scheduled. Like I was late or early to something already planned. I looked at the laptop again. A new message appeared. Occupant role, incoming replacement. My throat went cold. Replacement for what? Or for who? The hallway steps sounded again. Closer now. Not rushing, just steady approach. Like someone already knew I had nowhere to go. I backed toward the window, but there was no outside view. Only darkness. No city. No street. Just a blank void where glass should have shown reality. The voice came again. You don't need to leave. This time softer. Almost comforting. That was worse. Because comfort doesn't belong in something like this. I turned back toward the hallway. And I saw it. Not fully. Just a silhouette. Standing at the edge of light. Still. Patient. Waiting. Like it had been standing there long before I arrived. The laptop screen changed one last time. Final status. 0B occupancy transfer in progress. And then I understood something I didn't want to understand. Apartment 0B wasn't hidden. It wasn't missing. It was active. And it wasn't empty. It was just waiting for the next person to finish arriving. I packed my bag 3 times before I realized the truth. It didn't matter. Every time I tried to leave, something reset. Not the building. Me. The first attempt was simple. I went to the elevator at 6:12 a.m., thinking I would just go down, take a cab, and never come back. The doors opened like normal. Too normal. Inside, the lights were already on. Like it had been waiting. I pressed ground floor. The button didn't light up, but the door still closed. That was the first warning. The second came when the elevator started moving, but the floor indicator stayed at 9. No change. No descent. Just motion without progress. Then a soft voice came through the speaker. Not announcement. Not system. A voice. You are not scheduled for exit. I stepped back immediately. My hand hit the control panel, pressing every button. Nothing responded. The elevator didn't stop. It didn't continue. It just existed. Between decisions. And then it opened. Back on floor 9. Same hallway. Same silence. Same door to my apartment. As if I had never entered the elevator at all. That's when I understood the first layer of the problem. The building wasn't blocking exits. It was rewriting attempts. I tried the stairs next. Different time, different route. 5:40 p.m. I walked down every step carefully, counting. 1 floor. 2 floors. 3. But the numbers on the wall started repeating again. 9 right arrow 8 right arrow 9 right arrow 8. Like the structure itself couldn't agree on direction. And halfway down, the stairwell door simply stopped existing. Not locked. Not stuck. Gone. Just wall. Smooth concrete where an exit should have been. I stood there for a long time. Listening. Hopping for something logical to return. But instead, I heard footsteps above me. Slow. Measured. Coming down. I ran back up. The stairs didn't end where I left them. They extended. Longer. More of them than before. Like they were growing as I climbed. That was the moment panic stopped being useful. The third attempt was the door. I went back to my apartment, grabbed my documents, money, phone. Everything that proved I existed outside this place. I opened the main door and stepped into the corridor. Everything looked normal again. Too normal. Even the lights behaved like nothing had ever gone wrong. I walked straight to the exit stairwell sign. The same path I used every day. But the moment I reached it, the sign flickered. Just once. Then changed. No exit on this floor. I froze. The words weren't painted. They were displayed, like the wall itself had become a screen. I touched it. Cold, solid, real, but still showing text. Behind me, the hallway light dimmed slightly. Not flicker. Reaction. Like the building noticed I was testing it. Then I heard something I didn't expect. A notification sound. From the walls, a soft digital tone, followed by a voice again. Calm. Controlled. Tenant movement detected outside allowed parameters. Tenant. That word hit differently now. Not resident. Not person. Tenant. Like I was part of inventory. I backed away slowly. The hallway lights brightened again, as if reassured. I walked back into my apartment without deciding to. That was the worst part. I didn't choose it. My body just accepted it as correct. The fourth attempt happened later that night. I tried to use my phone. Cold outside. Network failed. Not no signal. Not error. Just a single message. Network within property domain. I stared at it for a long time. Property domain. Not building. Not service area. Domain. Like ownership had expanded beyond architecture. That's when I realized something that made my stomach tighten. Every system I used assumed I was inside something that had authority over me. Not walls. Not floors. Something larger. Something administrative. I tried again anyway. Sent messages. Nothing left the device. Every attempt looped back instantly, as if everything I said was being returned to me before it could escape. Then around 2:00 a.m. the intercom activated. I didn't press anything. It just turned on. Static first, then a voice. Same calm tone. You are currently in an active tenancy. I didn't respond. The voice continued. Vacancy requests are not available. That word again. Vacancy. As if leaving wasn't a physical action, but a permission. I went to the window. Black outside. No city lights. No movement. Just absence. Like the building had been placed somewhere outside normal geography. Then I saw it. Reflections in the glass. Not mine. Multiple. Standing behind me in the room. But when I turned, nothing. Only silence. Only air. Only furniture. But the reflection stayed. Watching. Waiting. The voice came again. You are not being denied exit. A pause. You are being retained. Retained. Like paperwork. Like ownership. Like something still processing. I stepped back slowly. My back hit the wall. The wall was warm again. Not hot. Not cold. Warm like skin under pressure. Like something just beneath it was adjusting its position. Then the final system message appeared on my phone without me touching it. Tenancy status update. Permanent occupancy pending. My breath stopped for a second. Permanent. That wasn't a mistake word. That was a decision. I ran for the door again. Not thinking this time. Just reacting. Pulled it open. And froze. The hallway outside was gone. Not replaced. Removed. In its place was a corridor I had never seen before. Longer. Deeper. Lights already on. As if it had always been waiting for this exact moment. And standing at the far end was someone holding my bag. The one I packed this morning. neatly placed on the floor beside them. Like they had already accepted I wouldn't need it anymore. The voice came one last time. Closer now. Not from speakers. From everywhere. Vacancy denied. The hallway light stabilized. Like the system had completed its update. And I finally understood the building's logic. It didn't trap people. It corrected movement. And once you were inside long enough, it stopped recognizing the idea that you could ever leave.